You ready?
You're all set.
Thank you. It is October 22nd. I can't believe it. Fall is flying by. Do I have a motion to call the meeting to order, accept the agenda? Please let Ms. Canfield, our secretary, Ms. Harrison, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Well, first on the agenda, we have many, I think they're still trickling in. Some special guests. We're gonna read your statement. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Before we get there, I forgot this. Thank you. The Scituate Select Board is committed to providing an environment of respect for meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized, minoritized communities, to belong and be respected. We ask community members, all who participate, to commit to these standards of respect for our community. Sorry, I forgot that. I was just so excited. We have so many friends that are here.
So yeah, whoever sits here gets the bill. So.
Yes. So I would love to see a show of hands. So some of you who are not here for this, we're here to welcome our the student delegation from our sister city of Westport. So if you're from Westport, please raise your hand. We have a few chaperones too. We're a chaperone. How are you? Parents, how are you? I hope so far it's been a good trip. Next, I know you have concert to go to at 7, so we'll get you out of here. We have some small goodies in the other room for you, which is wonderful. But I do want to say this. Every time I'm at the beach, my kids and others are always like, "Oh, if you just go east, you can hit Europe and here's Ireland." And it's the sea that separates us. But that's not true. It's actually what unites us. So I hope every time that you look out when you're home, you feel this is kind of like your second home. That we love having you here. We love seeing and our students and everyone learning from you. I think it's fabulous. And this is like the last place you guys want to go. What are we doing here? This is when do we go to the roundabouts? Our Westport.
Thank you.
What would you like to say?
First of all, welcome. Our town is your town. Okay, you're more than welcome to be here. You picked a great week to come and visit us. It's been Indian summer here. You will get a little cold at the end of the week, but you're used to that too, so that's not a problem. I must tell you, I had the honor and privilege of signing the Sister City Agreement in 2019, which kind of formalized this relationship. We are delighted to have you here. We want you to be here anytime you can be here, okay? And we look forward to sending some of our finer students over to see you guys. I think that's next year, correct? The next term? So. And kindly, if anybody's hiking around Skibbereen with somebody, shake Joe Carroll's hand for me and give him my regards. And again, welcome. If there's anything we need to do for you, let us know. Okay? So thank you for being here.
Dad, no, anyone?
No, I just know there are some students from Scituate that are planning already to go to the next trip. So you raise your hands if you're going to the Westport.
Cool.
Great. All right, well, it's so good that you guys can all get to know each other. I'm sure that the Scituate kids will tell you what the heck we do. We won't bore you with that civic lesson now, but you probably already know that we have 3 different communities that we're sister city or twinning. I don't know which way you guys call it, twin with. And Westport was our first, and then Soucy-en-Brie in France, and our third is Santa Catarina de Fogo and Cape Verde. And each of those communities in our community are very, very special. So thanks for coming in here, and don't forget to pick up your swag before you leave.
I'm gonna say a better welcome. We're happy to have you. I'm sure you know, you've been told 100 times we're the most Irish town in America. I think Marshfield is kind of vying for that distinction, but we're all very proud of the Irish heritage in this community. And so we're especially happy to have you. Thank you for coming.
I think we'll do a photo op, so we can make this, we'll put it out on the wire. We'll go internationally, you can see it all over the place, which would be wonderful, so.
How are you gonna organize that?
Well, it was Jim's idea.
Okay, Jim, you work.
My 10 followers on Instagram will all
Yeah, figure it out.
be happy to
So,
see.
all the kids, come on up, and just, we'll stand up here, we'll do, picture of this
Come on, Owen. Maybe. Yes. No, I know, no.
Ava, get in.
Hold on, never, here's the deal. Never Brenda said. Real name.
This is something Miss Brenda.
You know.
What's this open?
Jamie, could you say a quick word of thanks to the school department and the families? Oh, we did already. You did? Well, I was not, okay.
Screen guarded.
Oh, no. I'm still here. See you later. Thank you. Hey guys.
Everybody. He is, yeah. Riveting. He is expensive. I got a roof and yeah. Nice. Yeah. But, hoping to get back to it. There are no walk-ins. Market's crazy. Great. You're not. 40 minutes, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you can take 53 to 26.
For supporting the Nancy family and chimney cleanup of our house.
Yeah, we'd like to do your, chart. No. Anyone? No. No water. So now we will go to the report of our town administrator.
Good evening, since we're doing introductions tonight, I figured it's time for the board to put a name with a face, so I want to introduce Kim McDonald, our new facilities director.
Welcome.
I didn't want to introduce him too early in case he's brain yelling and screaming. He's been here a good month now, doing fantastic, department heads all have great things to say about him, so get his feet wet, but I wanted the board at least know who he is when you see him poking around the building, welcome him. And again, he's doing a fantastic job, so thank you to Cam for coming and congratulate him because we hired him and then he left to get married.
Here in Scituate, by the way.
Yeah. And he came back, which got surprised. But Cam's been great, so if you have any questions or problems, Cam's the guy to talk to. So just wanted to bring him into the board, we know who he was, and put that name in the face. Thanks, Cam.
Awesome. Nice to meet you all.
You're welcome.
We started the treatment plant update, still grubbing the site, removing dumps and other debris, that's continuing. We're installing the dewatering basin, the internal roadways, paths and areas, and you could see construction fails coming on the site this week, so that'll be the big thing for this week. We are posting those updates every Friday, so if you want to know what's going on, what's occurred and what's coming up, it gets posted every Friday on the website. Early voting has started. Ballots have been mailed to voters who requested a mail ballot. If you received a mail ballot, it must be returned by mail, dropped off at the town clerk's office or the drug box in front of town hall. You cannot bring your ballot to the polls on election day. It must be dropped off or mailed back. Please be sure to sign a small ballot envelope and return your ballot properly for data entry and filing. If you have voted early or your mail ballot has already been cast, you cannot vote on election day. You've already been counted as voted. October 29th is the last day to request a mail ballot. In-person voting has begun. It's going on right now. It'll take place in normal business hours in the town hall and this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. November 5th is the town election, and the last day to register to vote is October 26th by 5 p.m. You can register here in the town hall or online at registertovotema.com. If you've been in the neighborhood of the Old Gates, the Scituate Police Department is hosting a joint training program with neighboring departments at the Old Gates building. They started yesterday through the end of the week on Friday, October 25th. The training will run from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This program provides officers with advanced training in active shooter response and other high-risk situations. It offers an excellent opportunity for the police department to work and collaborate with our mutual aid partners on a coordinated response in the event of a critical incident. All the training will take place in the building, so there should be very little impact on the community. But you may see police crowds and cruisers there. That's what's going on doing training. The building is actually excellent for that. We've used it several times to do that, so we're lucky to have that at this point. If you're down on Oceanside Drive, the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, say that 10 times fast, has begun placing the research equipment on the town lot at the end of 6th Ave on Oceanside Drive. This is for an experiment that's going to go on from 2024 to 2026. The equipment's going to measure ocean surface currents, waves, and winds in high resolution on the area offshore of Scituate. And the information will benefit both our resiliency planning and research on Mass Bay and how the water works. It's gonna consist of 8 small antennas on wooden posts that will have a clear view of the ocean and 1 small panel that will have the electrical equipment on it. That's already in. We sent out a notice on our website, Facebook, and to people, so we will start seeing that go up, and all the equipment will be removed at the end. Friendly reminder, no one thinks it's friendly, but a friendly reminder that taxes are due on November 1st. We should have all our new Scituate residents from Ireland pay their taxes before we go back. Fire department's holding its annual open house this Sunday, the 27th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Public Safety Complex. Shoot the Flame, Smokehouse, fire trucks, and Sparky the Fire Dog will be present. Come meet your firefighters and wear your Halloween costume. Free pizzas and snacks will be available. If there's no parking at the Public Safety Complex, you can park across the street at the Fiffin House at 125 Manlock. The deadline for the small repair grant program is fast approaching. The deadline is October 30th. This is a small repair grant program for Scituate residents, providing up to $3,500 in grant funding to help qualified Scituate homeowners make essential repairs and modifications to their homes for health and safety reasons. This program also helps maintain the quality of Scituate's housing stock, enhances our community. Again, the deadline is October 30th. Go to the town website, situatema.gov, go to the Affordable Housing Trust page, and the application is there. I know we've got several of those already. Sherry's collecting those and processing them for the committee, so you have 1 a week. It's a very good program. Please get your application in. Celco is continuing to work on Jericho Road between Beaver Dam and Hadley, putting services in. Their road has been closed, so use caution if you're traveling in that area. That'll go on at least for the end of the week. The advisory committee and capital planning committee are both looking for members. There are vacancies. If you are interested, please email the town moderator at sitmod@gmail.com. Let us know how you can send it to our office and we can forward it off to the moderator. And finally, the food pantry continues to see need growing. They are very grateful for the community's assistance. The most needed items at this time: cranberry juice, hot chocolate, black and herbal tea, canned spinach, canned beets, quick bread mix, chunky peanut butter, instant potatoes, hamburger helper or no pesticides, and cream of mushroom soup. This can be dropped off at the pantry during normal hours, in the bins behind the old gates, or at the Scituate Library, the Village Market, and shops. That is what I have for today.
Thank you. Questions?
Could you just let me know when the fire open house is again, what day that is?
So it's Sunday, 27th, from 11 to 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Ann Irvine, 10 Pennycrest Road. Friday, November 1st, taxes are due. He told us that, but town hall closes at 11:45. And the last time this happened, it was a big brouhaha over it when people showed up. And then town clerk, our treasurer was very upset. So you all have to decide, does it close at 11:45, or is it gonna stay open until 5? So people can pay their mortgage. Their taxes, right?
Town hall closes at 11:45 on that day.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we'll close at 11:45 on that day. You can leave it out front, the drop boxes, and that will be considered being on time to the drop box.
But it says on the door that if it comes in after town hall closes, it doesn't count for that day.
We will cut it, they just have to have it in, so tell them to get it in by 5 o'clock in the drop box, and I'll come pick it up.
Thank you.
All right. We skipped over walk-ins. If there's anything on the agenda that's we want to address that's not on the agenda, excuse me, now will be the time. I didn't think so. I didn't want to skip that. So we go to the first item on our agenda, and I'm looking for Mr. Graziano for a proposed Eagle Scout project at the town forest. Mr. Graziano, come on up. Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. So, it's background for folks, although I guess a lot of folks here know what's happening. But love for you to tell us a bit about your project. This is for the town forest. It's the one that's off Maple Street, and where the water tower is. You can see and just first kind of give us your vision, and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good. All right, hello, and first I'd like to say thank you to the Scituate Board of Selectmen for giving me the time to present my Eagle project at the town of Scituate. I also want to thank the Scituate Police Department, Scituate Fire Department, Scituate Conservation Commission, the Scituate Highway Department, Scituate DPW, Boy Scout Troop 7, my parents, friends, and all those who have supported me and helped my project get this far. I've been a Boy Scout and active in the outdoors for more than 10 years. I've always loved camping, spending time outside, enjoying time with family, and learning all sorts of skills you can explore outdoors. Like most kids, I started camping in my own backyard, and I wanted to do more. The Boy Scouts have given me a lot of ways to learn about safety, community, and the environment. Scituate has so much to offer our residents, the beaches, the walking trails, many of which I've occasionally worked on to maintain as a Boy Scout. However, one thing we do not have in our town is a campsite where young kids and their parents can practice camping and basic skills before going into more challenging and distant camping scenarios. That is why my project is to create a small campsite in our own public town forest that can be used by any generation to enjoy our public spaces even more. Here are some of the basics of my project. This campsite will be a single campsite consisting of 2 flat raised platforms for tents, 1 campfire ring, trail improvement, signage marking safety rules and regulations, and a permit process for use through the Scituate Fire Department. The site will be located in the town forest behind the water tower off Maple Street, at the farthest common point away from all nearest residents and abutters. It will be used by any group who applies for a permit from the Scituate Fire Department, including the Boy Scouts, youth groups, residents, families, and more. The site is to be built this November and December and will be ready for use next spring of 2025. Eagle projects are a way for Scouts to learn, to create, improve, inspire, and give back to their community. I chose to create a campsite for Scituate because of my passion for camping and exploring nature, and I want every kid in Scituate to have that opportunity. This campsite will build basic camping experience for Scituate residents and can also bridge the gap between small adventures like camping in the living room and bigger adventures. Hopefully then, experience will allow people to be prepared for grand adventures like sleeping in igloos or hiking across the mountains of Iceland, all things Boy Scouts from Troop 7 have been able to do. Camping is a way of staying healthy, getting exercise, escaping screen time, and creating more family time. But before I take questions from the board, I'd like to answer some questions you and the community may have. How long have I worked on this project? We have worked on this project for more than 8 months, but Troop 7 has worked on building a campsite for almost 4 years, exploring sites and planning a safe concept. How many sites have we researched? We've looked into 3 sites, the Crosby property, behind the Rod and Gun Club, and the town forest off Maple. Aside from other considerations, safety and accessibility were key to the reason for choosing this site. Is it safe to camp in the woods? Yes, we met with the Scituate Police Department to study the site and access points. The gates to the site are always locked, and the permit holders will gain access through the fire department. Our site will have access for emergency care and people with disabilities. We met with the Conservation Commission to create a minimal footprint in nature and protect our town forest. How will garbage and bathroom use be managed? We met with the DPW to discuss maintenance and made a plan for garbage and bathroom use. The permit will require a porta potty be used and paid for by the permit holder. Signage and permits will both outline that all garbage must be taken away by the permit holder. Scituate already has fines for littering, which would apply to the permit holder if neglected. What about safety? We met with the Scituate Fire Department to discuss fire safety to build our permit, which includes rules and regulations to prevent risk and abuse of the land. The fire ring will be the only permitted area for a cooking fire, which is already permitted in Scituate. Is it legal to camp in Scituate? We met with the town administrator to study legality and the use of space in Scituate. It is legal to camp in Scituate. This site makes it organized, safe, and limits it. There was a bylaw passed in 2022 to limit sleeping in cars in Scituate. There was also a bylaw that attempted to limit camping in 2021, but was deemed unconstitutional by Attorney General Maura Healey as a limit to the 8th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Public space is owned by the people of Scituate, and it should be used to its best ability. This site will expand the use of the town forest, create a healthy way for residents to get outside, and give small groups a way to learn about and enjoy nature. I'm excited to provide this opportunity to Scituate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's very, very well said. This is kind of quite the process for you. Not only the easy parts, probably in your mind, would be the actual building. It's the navigation of various entities and things that are there. So we have received some comments on this, both supportive, some folks who are not supportive. Though I did want to lay down this expectations for folks here. There's two separate questions. The only question in front of us today is whether or not to permit you build the site. And you've gone out of your way to also offer up permits and gone and talked to other public safety entities. The separate question is how that access is going to work. And we're not going to litigate all that tonight on exactly how, what, where, and when. If we do that, we're never getting out of here. So the real question is whether or not this board will allow you to actually physically build that. I have more to say about it, but I'm going to let my board speak first. So we're going to ask questions and we'll go from there. Yes.
Well, I guess I'll start by asking, how big is the actual site? When you say the town forest, it sounds huge, but I don't think it quite is. And of that site, how much space would you be taking for the structures and the fire pit?
Yeah, so the site is 20.5 acres.
It's bigger than I thought.
Yeah, I would be taking,
well, I think each platform was 8 by 10, what we discussed. So the two platforms probably kitty cornered, and a firing with the necessary space for for buffer around the firing. And that's pretty much it. So it would be off of the existing fire road that kind of tees off the bottom. It kind of comes in like this, tees off, and it'd be off of that. So it'll be kind of a small little kind of semicircle, I guess. Firing in the
Probably talking about a 50-foot square.
Bigger or smaller than this room?
About the size of this room, but maybe
About the
smaller.
size of this room.
Inside the 20 acres.
About 20 acres.
Now, my second question being a total non-camper. I'd rather stay for the in Paris.
Yeah.
The reason for the platforms is?
well, basically, if you're camping on the ground and it's moist, your tank could leak, and then that results in sleeping in the water. Plus, during the colder seasons, the ground can also get pretty cold, and camping platforms just raise that a little bit, and also creates a designated spot for you to put your tent instead of just on the ground anywhere.
Limits the footprint of where people are going to want to disturb nature, plants, animals, etc.
So you could only put up a tent on one of those two structures.
It's designed to make it safe so that things are not above you. It's designed to make it safe so that it's level. It's designed to make it happier and comfortable, but it's also designed to limit the footprint to nature.
All right, thank you.
Good questions.
Well, I see the drawing that's been provided to us, where it shows where the encampment concept is going to be installed. It appears there's been diligence to make sure it's as far away from the butters as possible, yet still having the road access for an emergency. I also see that you've already created a type of a permit type of scenario, and the rules are pretty strict. So I have no additional questions. I think you've got a very interesting concept, and there's nothing I would like to see better than our community using the outside world that we own.
Right.
I have no questions.
I just have a couple of questions. First of all, I want to say thank you, Jake. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I like how you walk through all the situations, you really understand town government. You realize putting up 2 little platforms, takes a lot of coordination, whether it's fire, police, our town administrator, town hall, and who's gonna manage it, so I appreciate the thought. A quick question, like 8x10, so there's 2 8x10, because in your proposal it said 2 to 4, so there will be 2 8x10 platforms. How many people would say in each of those? Like, what does that equal as far as?
Well, an 8x10 platform would probably house, one large tent, so that would probably be, how many do you say?
Depending on how your tents work,
Yeah.
you could probably fit comfortably 8 to 10 people on one platform.
Okay.
Depends on the types of tents, or, on an 8x10 tent, you could probably fit, if you're talking about campers who really go the extra mile, they have all these micro tents and things, they're pretty small.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine somebody 6 feet tall, not moving very much in a tiny little tent, you could fit probably 12 of those on a platform. But
Small Boy
generally-
Scouts, right?
Generally, I think you can anticipate 2 to 3 tents on each platform,
Okay,
each of which would house 2 to 4 people. But I think comfortably, you're probably talking 8 happy people on each platform.
okay,
So you're talking, 15 to 20 people would probably be the max the site would handle well.
okay, that's helpful. And then I appreciate your proposal this is not for Boy Scout use only, it's for, the town use. And I too appreciate, I think part of what we need to do in town is help people get outdoors more, it's great. I actually am liaison to the Conservation Commission, so we were discussing that when I was there, and they answered a lot of my questions. So I appreciate, that it's well thought out and that it's a good spot for, I know there's additional questions, so I will let you all ask more questions.
Thank you for coming in, and thank you for doing so much good and want to do this. The hardest thing about our decision making up here is that we are often asked to look at a project that is phenomenal for the applicant. And it checks all boxes, it does what they're thinking. And as is alluded to, we also have to say, well, how does that impact the impact? And I think your history lesson was great. I sat on this board in 2021 when it was proposed in, I think, Clap Road, Greg, and it's come up before.
Yeah.
And we're in the unfortunate position of having to say, to your true, we don't think that's a really good fit for the community. So that's separate things. So I'm glad that our chair has divided, there's 2 separate questions here. One is this project desirable and appropriate, and should we give you the permission to, yeah, awesome, thank you for your service. And then the second part of it is very complicated, as you've learned. How do we manage it to make sure that there aren't unintended consequences?
Yeah.
I have to tell you, when I read the backup, I had sort of PTSD about having had this conversation before and the things that could go wrong. And your presentation was very good. And the fact that you have talked with so many officials that are responsible for a lot of that. Is it fire safe? Is it physically safe? Is the infrastructure appropriate? And you convinced me that you've knocked off a lot of those questions. So good on you for that. One of the things that we were worried about, which is nothing to do with the merit of this project, but has to do with balancing safety and concerns that we brought up, I think I read the minutes today, was brought up before, was inviting an opportunity for those who maybe do not pull a permit to have an easy place to gather to do less than Boy Scouting things.
Yeah.
That's separate from this, but it is something that is on my mind. I worry about, we have lots of other properties, we have this conversation about, we want to invite people to be too back in the woods in the middle of the night when, you know, they may not use the fire safety properly. I'm just giving you my whole thought because it is complicated. I think your work is great. I hate to stand, I would be loath to stand between you and success because there's so many great Eagle Scout projects around now that have really advanced the capabilities. I don't, you answered the questions I had. I just wanted you to know what my concerns are if we continue the conversation. And I wouldn't mind if Frank could, I know you went to conservation, but I would like conservation since our chair is sitting here, to just give us their 2 cents if we have an opportunity.
Well, if our chair would like to, I would invite him to. Thank you. Yes. Share your thoughts.
So as you spoke of, this has been out there for quite a while. We've met with various folks. Alvin Sanko was the only persons that we worked with a long time ago and looking at different sites, and we tossed around a couple of locations and decided that those sites weren't the ideal situation. COVID, different things happened, kind of got dropped, and then this came up again. We started to think again, what would be a good, suitable location for this endeavor? And the town forest on Maple Street sort of came to light in looking at the various concerns that have been brought up before. Access was a big one. The fire roads are constructed there, there's gates there. It made more sensible than saying having a more remote site. If either the users or the chaperones, leaders, whatever, any of them have impairments that they might not be able to hike in on their own. This could be accessible with a small all-wheel drive vehicle. It's not super remote, so it could be monitored. The other part that really works well is most of the conservation properties sort of have folks that have adopted it. We've got great volunteers in so many locations doing trail work, maintenance, upkeep, and just reporting in. We know more things that happen out there just from folks that are out there. And the town has 2 town forests, one across from the safety building, which is relatively small and sort of wedged between 3A and Lipton Pines. And then we have the town forest on Maple Street. And it really doesn't have this occasional dog walk, or I'll swing in once in a while, be some trash, and it sort of just, it's got the water tower, and the DPW actually does a little work out there now and then. If they get a new piece of equipment, they might go up a chipper or something and try it out. But in whole, no one really utilizes that site very much. And so it seemed like that would be maybe an opportunity to have someone, you know, it's called adopt it or whatever, so that it seemed like the scouts would be a good fit for that location. And the discussions we've had with them over the years, that this isn't like a large, a week-long camping trip or whatever. This is sort of a shakedown area. They get a chance to try out their equipment, see what they like to bring, see what could be done differently. So those have been all part of the discussions. And then say we talked about meeting with the different town departments, police, fire, whatnot. I know probably seems like your biggest concern is the fire, and I think creating a location and a fire pit, and someone could go out, and we have had it happen. We found campers at various locations in the woods over time that have decided to kind of get off the grid for a little bit, and they've had their own fire and whatnot. We'll come across something, but this is a spot that's pretty easy to patrol, and it just seemed like it was a better opportunity than other locations, and that's why we circled back and encouraged them to do that.
Thank you, Frank.
Reserve more of my thought, I wanna hear from more folks first. So if there anyone, we're all good here, so anyone from the audience, questions, comments? And maybe online as well, this first for everybody, yes. And I always forget to tell people this, just say your name and your address for the record.
Linda Kaplan, I live on Maple Street. We first heard about this a few weeks ago. My yard is connected to the woods. There is no barrier between the woods and my yard. The trail, one of the trails runs directly to the sidewalk going right through my yard. From the central trail, you can see my house and my neighbor's home. From the other side, you can see Matt's house right there. There really is no place in there that is truly away from homes. And I'm a little confused on this as far as this benefiting the scouts. It's my understanding as part of the Boy Scouts of America that the Eagle Scout project specifically cannot be the benefit the scouts. So when we first heard this, I thought this was for the scouts and maybe they were only going to be in there a couple of nights here and there. That would be kind of a non-issue, or this was a temporary thing that wasn't going to be a structure that was going to become, I don't know if you received this today, but I sent to all of you.
Yeah.
That it would become what is deemed an attractive nuisance. Which means that once it's there, people will use it. This is foreseeable, that it will be used for something other than what you want it to be used for, and it cannot be used for scouting purposes, and the way you're thinking. Because it's not allowed according to your own guidelines. So, having said that, I had a discussion also with conservation last Friday. We talked about the previous fire that happened in the woods, about 2 years ago. That happened during a storm. They were aware of that. About 1,500 to 2,000 square feet of trees burned before it went out. And we got lucky. And it was a heavy rainstorm. That wasn't some random person going in and not watching the fire, not putting it out the way they should. And this is open to anybody. And when I also talked to the police chief, I talked to the fire chief. They said it would be permitted, and I said, well, how many people would be in there? 15, 20, are they all on the permit? And we know that we're safe at night. Which is, this is basically a continuation of my yard, with someone out there camping in the dark. It's everyone's name on that permit, and you know who's in there for certain. And every fire permit, is the fire department going to go in the next day and check it out, make sure the fire is out? But the wind hasn't come up during the night. The fire chief thought this was a scout, just for the scouts, maybe a couple of nights in the spring, when he signed off on this. He's changing his stance. After he found out that this is just for anybody, any group that happens to get a permit and want a permit over there. He's not okay with it. And he also talked about, another project that he had. It was a scout project, an Eagle Scout project that was to a mailbox, and it was a great idea at the time. It was a much smaller scope than this. As a collection site for American flags. So that the fire department could burn them, if they were no longer in usable condition. And the scouts were supposed to come and take care of that for him. He has bags and bags of American flags. He doesn't know what to do with them. And he thinks this is a potential large mailbox in the woods. So I know we actually have a lot of our neighbors are saying we want Jake to have a project. We just don't want to put ourselves in danger or in jeopardy. I want you to have a project. I want my son safe too. We live there. We've seen a fire in those woods before. I saw what it did. I wasn't aware of it at the time. The whole thing was done and over during the night. What we saw later, later on, we took photos of it, the whole section was burned. So what we're looking at is we don't want the nature of the area changed from when we purchased our homes, which was no parking after 9 p.m., no one's supposed to be in there, there's not supposed to be any fires. That's what made us feel reassured and safe to be there. That was the agreement, that's what we were always told. So I can see wanting to have a project in there and being in the outdoors. The trails already in the area are not maintained. If they wanna do trail maintenance, that would be wonderful, or create another small trail like he's talking about for this, but maybe a seating area or a public bathroom, something that does not allow people to be in there overnight or to have any fires. That way, both things are accomplished. They can be outside, run projects, be out, and it would actually serve so many more people than people that just camp there. Anybody could use that site if they're walking in the woods and they want to take a break and just sit down and enjoy the day for a while. But not overnight and not fires.
There's a couple of things, again, we'll get back to it. I know there's other folks. Anyone else from the audience? Yeah, to the back.
Hi, my name is Matt Wines, 136 Grove Street. I appreciate the presentation, big fan of the Boy Scouts and the project. I think it's a great idea in theory. A couple questions on the platform. How high off the ground is it?
Typically, platforms for camping are about 10 inches off the ground. They're just meant to level the ground. They're slatted, so they allow rain through. They're not impediments to nature.
Do they make a portable or temporary platform in the camping world?
Well, that's, again, we're talking about this proposal. So we're
Okay,
not altering proposals, we're not talking about permits,
Okay,
we're not talking about other stuff.
no problem.
It's this project, that's what's on the agenda, it's all we can do.
That's fine. So to echo Linda's comments, I have over 10 acres. Very difficult to police 10 acres. Accidents happen. I go in that park or area sometimes just to walk. A lot of times I go there to pick up trash because I can't stand driving down Grove Street. There's Chick-fil-A, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever. So I just, pick up the trash. There's a lot of trash out there. My concern, again, like Linda, she's a lot closer to it, but it's a recipe or an invitation for impropriety and carelessness. So that's my concern. This was, when I first got the notification in the mail, I thought it was strictly just a Boy Scout project. It's gonna be, this is almost like a public service project, which is a completely different thing. And the fact that you're gonna have a permanent structure there is an invitation that nobody's gonna be pulling a permit. And I understand you wanna go out, you wanna test gear, you wanna, enjoy the elements. But as we enter into the winter months, noise becomes an issue because when the leaves are down, you hear every conversation. Not to mention, word is gonna get out through social media that there is a place to camp up, a place to party. And right now, that's what that place is right now, is a place to party. There's always beer cans, there's used condoms. It is, just an invitation. What did you call it? A public nuisance or an invitation? An attractive nuisance. And I hate to sound like a damper on the project, because obviously Jake did a really nice presentation, especially at your age, a lot of due diligence, but that's our concern, or my concern.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else with the, yes?
Hi, I'm Kevin Nolan, 118 Maple. And in the presentation was referenced that the fire department was spoken to, and Linda reached out. They did not have, the chief did not have a lot of information, correct information, he thought it was just about the scouts. I'm asking the board, before you make any other decisions, we should hear from the chief. So he made it clear that it's.
Again, we're talking about 8x10 platforms. The permit for fire and who's gonna get the permit for fire is not on the table. We're talking about whether or not Jake can build an 8x10 platform in those woods. The other conversation.
Then what happens, can I just ask a question then? If it's just about the platforms, what happens in the other discussions, the board decides to not allow this? We're gonna make poor Jake go back and pick up the platforms, I guess, that's what I'm trying to understand.
It's a donation to the town, these 8x10 platforms. Other projects have come before the board where there's not a closet, a shed. What happens when the shed breaks? You don't invite the kid to come back. We've had Eagle Scout build sheds and do other things. We don't have that, what happens if the shed falls down on some little kid? It's become the town's issue. What we're trying to decide is if Jake can build an 8x10 platform in the woods, it's then the town's responsibility to talk about access and safety and other things. How is that gonna happen? You understand? Two separate issues.
I just think that's an implicit approval of the entire scope of the program, if you approve the platforms.
Okay, then that can be your opinion, that's.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
The other opinion I would have would be it's the police department, but we haven't really had a chance to hear from them on extra resources they would need if there's maybe max 20 people by permit, but let's just say there's 40 people now.
Yeah, so I'll say this broadly about this whole attractive nuisance issue. I've probably walked that property, people who know me, I walk my dogs in some trail every day. I must have been out there 50, 60 times in the last 2-3 years. And you're right, it's already, you can see 30 packs and it's already a terrible place. You know what? It was told to me by the police and other folks, growing up with them, nothing better to get rid of bad behavior than trying to do good behavior that's there. And so by having people who are looking out to it, this concept of an adoption, someone who cares about it. I mean, it's as old as day, that you have someone who actually cares and loves that area, who's gonna maintain it and take care of it. You're right, that's exactly what's happened. So that's kind of the process. So on the police front, since it's already, the area that's there and folks are misbehaving, and you want more folks to be aware of it, this is one way to address it. Did he still has to,
No, I guess we just, the fact that they're not Boy Scouts for sure, the young people that are hanging out there, don't you think the tents would invite them to stay overnight then?
in my personal opinion, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those are not the types of folks who are, because I gotta walk back and, I'm already here in the parking lot, let's get our stuff and go another 100 miles in these creepy woods to do this, to drink, to get out of there. See you later. The one thing I can't do,
That's speculation.
that's just telling my opinion, is that personally, I don't wanna stop, again, good behavior, because there's some other bad apples that are out there. I cannot think of a worse way for policy decision-making. There's gonna be bad people doing that, but this person wants to do a good thing, and now it's, just in case that. In my I can't think of any reason for that. And I'll say this, in my opinion, sort of here broadly, I can't get my kid off that stupid phone. But I can't tell you something that's more dangerous or an attractive nuisance than when my kid turns 16 and he's looking at that stupid phone. And there's so many parents in here who pay a monthly fee for them to be distracted and probably hit themselves into a tree. And we have some kid here who's trying to do the right thing, trying to get kids off the screen, go in the woods. And here we are trying to beat this kid up.
I disagree with that. No one's trying to beat this kid up. That's not.
That's very uncalled for.
Right.
That is my opinion, but I feel it's unfair for him. Because again, it's two separate questions. He's trying to build this thing that's right here. I also tried to look up the danger of this, right? I get the paper every day. I don't know how many major forest fires have happened because of the Boy Scout camping in Massachusetts.
All it takes is one.
All I know is, again, all the other fires on the beaches that people have and other things that we don't get, again, we understand the danger that's there. These are the types of people we want there looking out for.
This is
So that's
not
it.
for the
You don't have the
Scouts,
floor,
and it
ma'am.
cannot be
Ma'am,
for
you
the
do not have the
Scouts.
floor.
Can I just say one thing? Can we
Yes.
check if anyone online has a
Yes.
question?
Chief Thompson's
Because
there,
Chief
the fire
Thompson-
chief is there.
So,
Anyone raising their hand?
Let me find out for you. Chief Donovan, or if you were there and you want to raise your hand, do you have anything you want to add? He may not. Along with Chief Thompson. You would just need to, they may not be raising their hands.
So while we're waiting for that, someone who's not spoken yet. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Jerry Kelly. I live at 56 Moreland Road.
I'd like to compliment Jake on his presentation and his research. I've been in the business world and have seen many presentations inferior to this. I live on, essentially on the spit, and you want to talk about an attractive nuisance during the summer, it's the spit. And Chief Thompson and Mr. Boudreau listened to our concerns, addressed them, and what was a terrible attractive nuisance 10 years ago has been remedied. So there are ways that this can be managed. So I'm speaking in support of it, and I'm putting my faith in the town to manage it.
Excellent, thank you.
And Mr. Goodrich, I do
The
believe
chief, yes.
Chief Thompson should be good to go. He's unmuted. He just cannot hear him.
Evaporate.
His mic might not be working. I'll text him and I will update you.
Nice. Yes, wait.
So on the management, one of the things that you addressed that we were very concerned about when we considered other sites was sanitary facilities. And that, to Mr. Kelly's point, not your problem to solve, but the recommendation in your proposal is that as part of the permitting, you require folks to get a porta potty. That is a hurdle for use. But it does mean, I think you're absolutely right, this has to be used, this has to be available for the community, or it doesn't meet your criteria as an Eagle Scout project. It's not gonna be just, it's town property, everyone should be able to use it. And as was pointed out, it's our job to go through and say, should we allow this use? What are the things that will ensure that it is now a better use than it is currently? And I have to say that, you know, one of the tools that we have is, I wouldn't feel comfortable allowing camping, we've talked about this on other sites, is you have to have an accommodation for having a porta potty or, you know, some sort of facility. If you're inviting people to stay there for a night, it has to be done. So there's a lot of buffers on this, but that is not, luckily for you, if you'd like an internship and you're in college, we can figure out those things, but I think that there are ways to put buffers around us and around the neighbors' concerns.
We have the
Yep, Mr. Goodrich, you have Chief Thompson right there.
All right, thank you. I apologize for the mic problem. I think a couple things that I'd bring up is for the past several years, particularly as the town has worked more aggressively to create conservation space, it's something that we have known would be added patrols that we would need to do and look into the different conservation spaces, even with the addition of our natural resource officer. And I know that he's worked a lot with Frank Snow, going through the trails and looking at those spaces. So it's something that I think from our standpoint, we would look to continually work with conservation in the town to make sure that we're aggressively getting out there and getting into these spaces, particularly if there are problem areas that are identified, or areas that we know we're looking to benefit the public. So that's certainly something that we would do. And I think with this project too, one of the things that it does look to do, and it goes to a broader question, is just being able to put guardrails around the use of these spaces. So from our standpoint, we want to make sure that people are able to go out, enjoy the public spaces. I think on a larger scale, that's what the town is looking to do, to take advantage of all of these different areas where there's outdoor, natural resources, conservation spaces. So our job as public safety is to make sure that that's happening responsibly, and ensuring that the guardrails that the town puts in place, we make sure people are abiding by that and working kind of collaboratively with everybody to make sure that that's happening. So I think Jake has done a lot of work with this. I think kind of echo what the board has said and looking into these things, in knowing that, as Mr. Goodrich had said, there's still permitting processes to do. They're still looking at that picture. But on a whole, the spirit of what this is something that we can support. And from the police department standpoint, we'll make sure that we're working with all stakeholders to make sure it's enjoyable for everybody.
I don't know if there's one person in the back there, and then, yeah.
Pete Bennett, 140 Turner Road, father of 2 scouts, for transparency's sake. I'm fortunate enough to live down in Sand Hills, across the street from the beach. This town has done a phenomenal job over the years, making our waterfront resources available to all of our town residents. I don't think that we've done a very good job in the 25 plus years that I've lived here of making our other conservation areas available to the larger community and finding access to them. And I would encourage the board to look favorably upon this because this is a resource that has been not utilized or been accessible for years and years and years. Thank you.
Actually, can I say something? Because I agree that like we're doing, like there's a lot going on right now. And I encourage you to look around. As far as some of the properties, I think the Mordecai Lincoln property is a really good example of something that was not purchased by the town and then it sat there for a couple of years and now there's beautiful trails and folks in abutters who first did not want the trails now embrace the trails and walk daily as well as help with maintenance. And I did also, I think we have a lot of great land and I think it's really important for folks to get out there and experience the diverse land that we have. I will also say as an abutter, not to this land, I'm an abutter with no fence, no barrier to the Hubble property, which when we purchased our house there, with the Border Street property was not bought, it was hardly used. Like you couldn't, it was hard to see another person there when you're walking out there. And now with the purchase of the Border Street property, that happened fairly recently, there's been a peaked interest in the Hubble Trail. So there's a lot more people out there. And it's great. They're taking care of you. Rarely find garbage there. You used to find garbage there before when no one was out there. And I think it's super important for us as a board and as a town to figure out the best use for the land and then also how like the best caretaker scenario. And I think as Frank mentioned with having the scouts help with this project, we'll also get interest in helping to pick up trash and all those other things that come with it. So I encourage you all to embrace it as well as, because I will say as an abutter to land that has changed recently and become very popular, it is really a great thing to see your community outside enjoying the land.
And Mr. Goodrich, you do have Fire Chief Mark Donovan, if you would here.
Chief,
Good evening.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry for the delay. I had to find the raise the hand button, but we're good to go now. I did meet with Linda Kaplan last week. Chief Thompson and I did, and we talked a little bit about the project. I've also spoken with Jake, and I've also had a conversation with some of the troop leadership as well. I also presented the project to Plymouth County is Fire District 2. The Fire District 2 Fire Warden Mike, the District Fire Warden Mike Marquardt, who's stationed at Miles Standish State Forest, who deals with this all the time. He's in support of the project as well as I am. The fire risk I believe is low there. That fire, there's some pictures in the packet I looked at of the fire. I think it was provided by Linda. The fire, 2,000 square foot, really in our world is just a small area. It appears that it burned itself out. That area is prone to lightning strikes. Before I'd fully approve of it, would go into Mike Marquardt from the fire warden is willing to come in and walk the site with me once we get an idea of exactly where it's going to be, and we can just evaluate the area. But right now, I would require that, as we do with any fires on public land, that a permit is granted by the fire department, and that would give us control. It's something, for example, if you applied for a permit on a Wednesday that you wanted to burn on a Saturday, I wouldn't grant it to you. We would give you a conditional approval, and it wouldn't be granted till that evening, which would require a phone call to the ship commander, who would just verify that the winds are not creating any risk. And of course, with the, as Jake presented in his, he gave us a sample application, which you may or may not have in your packet, and that a lot of that mirrors a lot of the outdoor burning regulations we have, because we do have a policy for outdoor non-brush burning. It's really applies to fire pits, and those rules would apply where you need to have an extinguishing, some type of extinguishing agent available. You'd have to have a 3-foot diameter. You have to burn clean firewood. You have to be 25 feet from any structure, any combustible or any highly combustible area. So with that, I can answer any other questions, but right now, with our approval, we would allow fires at that site.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm very much in favor of us having people who are willing to step up and show people that a particular piece of property is cared for above and beyond what the town can reasonably do. And so I feel as though if there are proper rules and regulations, and if there's a list of approved uses, Jen, or maybe our town council can tell us, we do that for caterers down at the Maritime building, that you have to be on the list. You have to provide us with all of the documentation that we would tell you is required, so that we wouldn't just have, ragtag bunches of people up there with no supervision, or, that we don't know who they are. And I would like to think that we could post online, if a permit has been issued, so that people know, oh yeah, we might hear some, people there tonight. So, and this is all getting into the whole issue of the rules and regulations, but I think a lot can be done to help the neighbors be assured that they would be part of the process of us going through what the rules and regulations would be, along with the Conservation Commission, and that we can work some of these things out. So, to Mr. Goodrich's point, if all we're doing tonight, not all, but if what we're doing tonight is saying that the project can go forward, this board has a lot of experience with projects that get approved and that take a really long time to come to fruition. How many years have you been working on the oyster farms?
Yeah.
8 years. 8 years. So I'm not trying to discourage you, but you may be the genesis of this, but it may take a lot longer than you think to work through everything that it will take. And I would like the Boy Scouts to take quote unquote ownership of this project, so that it's not, like I said, it will be clear that somebody really cares about this area, and they don't want it to become a place where kids go out and just throw beer cans. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Can I just ask one question? In this preliminary phase of your endeavor to create said space, according to this plan, what is your time frame on the physical nature of getting in there, getting the trail built, getting the I think you said you were gonna try and have it presentable for spring.
Yeah, so I was planning to work on it as soon as possible, so November and December, and have it available in spring.
So we have basically 4 to 5 months to think about the other aspect that's not on the table tonight, which is the management of it, implementation, protection, diligence, responsibility, all those communications, all those fun things that are very important to ultimately supporting the success of his endeavor. So people need to know that. If we all put our heads around this, I'm sure we can figure this out as it goes forward. In the meantime, I don't think we should delay this gentleman his opportunity to create a project.
we're gonna take I don't think we're gonna change anyone else's mind here, so I will entertain a motion.
I'll be happy to give you a motion. Let me get to my writing here. Move to approve the installation and use of a public campsite with the leadership of Eagle Scout Jake Graziano and Boy Scout Troop 7 at the town forest parcel ID number 35-2-11-0, 0 Grove Street.
Move by Mr. Gilmore, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, by Ms. Conley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, it is unanimous. Congratulations, Bill, good luck, and good luck.
Do a
Now
good
more
job.
hard work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. Next, 7:00 agenda. Give everyone a second. Thanks, Captain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for showing us this.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, I told you I was plan B.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I sleep right? No, I haven't.
No, we haven't.
What?
In our back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want one? Give you.
No.
I hope this is true, that we're allowed to start later, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And start earlier.
We just cannot start earlier.
Oh.
Only, there's more lawyers in this room.
Oh,
Hey. How many billable hours do we have in this room?
We shot.
All right.
Hello.
You ready or? Yes, we are ready. Decompressing. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Dennehy. I'm on the Board of Assessors and I guess the chair this year. And we're here before you, going to seek a motion to, your board to vote to approve the residential factor of 1, according to Mass General Laws, Chapter 58, Section 1. For those who are probably watching, people in the audience, on the Board of Assessors, we have the residential factor of 1. That factor is that we're not shifting any tax burden, it's going to be even across the board. There are 4 different disciplines we have. We have residential, we have commercial, we have open space, we have industrial. And so the concept here is, well, maybe can we shift maybe some of that tax burden from residents and say, can we do it to the business or the commercial industrial? Our board voted no, and in your packet, the information that's provided, I know there's some information about policies and justifications as to why. I think what's more important is, I think it's called social, some economic and political issues about the different things, but I think more importantly is when you take a look at the kind of comparisons. Our town only has 4 business districts, North Scituate, Front Street, Greenbush, and of course, Hummerock. A lot of that has to deal with growth and development. The town has taken a position, rightly so, that the green space for our Route 3A is to be remaining open space or green space for the most part. Other towns elected not to do that, Cohasset and built on it and businesses. We, on the other hand, chose not to, which is nice, but our business or villages really haven't really maximized. Front Street certainly had a lot of growth and development in the 2000s with mixed use and different things. Greenbush more recently has had really a kind of a real transformation of a lot of development. North Scituate, unfortunately, right now is stuck because of the sewer, which I'm sure you folks are really aware of and trying to fix. And then Hummerock, well, that's kind of a distant area. And meanwhile, there are certain other areas in town that traditionally had some kind of business that would have been Minot, Egypt, and of course Sand Hills. When you look at the town comparisons, and the reason why I mention this is Scituate is actually, from the towns that are listed here in South Shore that we provided you, Cohasset, Duxbury, Hanover, Kingston, Marshfield, Norwell, Pembroke, Plymouth, and Scituate. Scituate is the second highest residential rate at 96% tax, leaving only about 4% of the business. The highest one happens to be Duxbury at 97%, with only 3% business. So when you begin to take a look at it, the only town on the South Shore that has a factor of 2, meaning split rate, happens to be Norwell. Actually, Hanover, I take that back, 84 residential, only 16% for the business. And if people start looking around, you begin to say, well, yeah, you got Route 53, a lot of business there, similar areas. They're able to do it. What kind of struck me a little weird, but strange, was Plymouth doesn't have it. Plymouth does have a lot of business areas, but by comparison, they're ranked 86% with 11% commercial. So anyway, we're here to ask you to maintain the rate at 1, and happy to answer any questions. I would like to put a PR note out for people, if they are, when they get there. Actually, I do want to make a few points. The average residential assessment for fiscal year 2025 is $967,000. The increase from 2023 sales is 7%. The tax rate that we're looking to set down from the levy is $10.01. That's a decrease from 2024 of $10.36. That's nice when you say the tax rate goes down, but that also means the inverse relationship is your value of your house and the tax. So the increase in the average residential tax bill is going to be $330, 3.5%. I do have the averages for the commercial for FY25. The average commercial or industrial assessment is going to be $1,151,000. That's an increase of 5% based on 2023 sales revenue. And the average commercial industrial tax bill is basically $11,528 as compared to the residential of $9,681. That increase of that average is actually 1.3% compared to the residential, which I said is going to be 3.5. Aside from that, the only PR plug I was going to suggest that tax bills are going out in December. People have until February 3rd. If they feel that their assessment's wrong, to debate it. If they do so, they can either come down to the assessor's office, Dr. Joe, or get the forms offline. The other thing is we're going to have seminars or workshops at the senior center. If you want to talk about the abatement for your home, there's a December 10th, 2024, 10 a.m. at the senior center. Personal exemptions are going to be due April 1st. Those are for veterans. They're going to be for elderly, people who are blind, looking for certain exemptions. That's, again, workshops will be February 11th and also March 11th, February 11th at 11 a.m., March 11th at 5 p.m. And the only other thing I was going to say is we'll post this. Yeah. You can post it outside your office, so people who have it, so they take a look at it. Other than that, happy to answer any questions.
And the new values are online now. So your new property record card is online.
I just want to make a quick comment. Not that other years haven't been clear and good, but this presentation and just really well done, and it's easy to read. The information just presented, I think, to really keep it for next year. It's really good.
I'd like to take credit for it, but I can't.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. No, there's a lot, and it was just very simple, and it was a great way to express it. So I'll start with questions.
No, I'm just really, I don't recall having so many public sessions, and I'm so glad to see that, because people are feeling that they're trying to have someone able to ask questions. Terrific. So whatever we can do to promote that.
We had a huge turnout last year. We had 3 last year, which was the first time we had 3 workshops. And just about all 3 were full. We counted about 90 people in attendance. And they weren't there to see me, trust me. But with the help of our assessment professional, Sandy, we gave a presentation and then took time. It was really truly a workshop, help people fill out the forms, get the right forms. And we've really increased the number of Community Preservation Act exemptions that have been granted. We've more or less doubled the amount. It's hundreds now instead of dozens. And then same thing with the elderly exemptions. We've got outreach with the veterans as well, with the elderly. And we're also, if you come in and ask for a veterans exemption for $400, but you actually qualify for a senior exemption for $1,000, we'll steer you in that direction. We enjoy it. It's the nice part of our job, as opposed to being the bad guy, the assessor. It's also an opportunity to do some outreach and help those in need.
There could be a special town meeting coming up, could be a nice opportunity to let some people know.
I always hear great things about people in the assessor's office, how well they treat people, how people are listened to, and that your outreach has been really outstanding. And so, for a part of the town hall that might be considered, oh, those guys. I always hear great things.
Well, they can say that about the board members, that's me.
Oh, well,
The office
well,
personnel.
we'll be professional staff too. No, I just, really, I think people need to hear it, that's particularly well thought of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Good question.
Very concise and to the point.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I would love a motion.
Move that the select board vote to approve the residential factor according to Master Law, Chapter 58, Section 1A.
Move, Ms. Canfield.
Second.
Second by Ms. Conlon, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, thank you. Excellent, I appreciate
Thanks so much.
Well done.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, why?
Gonna get to the,
While we were talking about Bill Blau, I don't know if you want to take council.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Builder.
Yes, is Frank. You okay with that? If we zoom through this
If I can see him for a conservation project soon.
after? Talk to Jim, let's see how long this goes. Alright, so we're just gonna. I like your style. Alright, we're gonna go to the 7:30 special town meeting, November 18th.
So that's my introduction, I don't have to follow up that A+ presentation.
Yeah.
Alright, how are you?
I'm doing well, how are you?
What a meeting to come, Irish delegation here, you've got everything.
I chose this life, I chose local government. Didn't start in it, but I'm gonna finish it, so.
Alright,
You're not going anywhere, right?
No.
Jeez.
So I'll do this at your pleasure, I can just, I was asked to come about proposed articles 10 to 12, which are the general bylaw amendments. I can give you a brief synopsis of each, I can just answer some questions, however you want to do this as quickly and efficiently as possible.
I guess we'll start with general questions.
Yeah, an overview so that people out there know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because they just,
Okay,
yeah,
as I say, the Reader's Digest for
yes.
Sounds good.
not everyone.
You're not old enough.
Oh, I am actually, I remember reading that.
Go ahead.
With the last print.
Yeah, with the large press.
Yes.
So this basically concerns 3 proposed articles, but it's really 2 subject matters. The first are just some revisions to our alcohol licensing bylaw. I can answer questions about it, but there's nothing that we're substantively or significantly changing. It just, as a part of a policy review for that licensing, we had a couple tweaks to the bylaw that were suggested, and that's what Articles 10 and 11 are. Proposed Article 12 concerns fingerprint background checks for certain occupational licenses. As with many things, even though I'm the one discussing it,
I'm not taking credit for it. Chief Thompson actually talked to me about this one, and it would really just be giving you an extra toolkit when you're doing certain licenses. We often use this for what I'll call transient businesses, like ice cream vendors, or taxis, or liveries, or sort of businesses that don't really have a fixed location and maybe raise additional public safety concerns. So that's the really high level. Like I said, I'll keep it brief, and if there's any questions about it, I'm happy to answer those.
I think we do have those.
Two questions on that. One is, the licenses have not been defined on what we need to, that this will, pertain to, so we need to do that, obviously. And then second, I should list, and I don't remember, if you apply for a liquor license, are you required to get fingerprinted by the ABCDEQ?
We don't do it. I don't know what the state does. I can certainly answer that question. But if we wanted to do it for, city manager, for example, we have to apply to do the FBI background check.
So we're suggesting Hackney and livery drivers and owner operators, other conveyors and passengers, ice cream truck vendors, dealing with secondhand articles, including junk dealers and collectors and pawn
But not food truck.
Ice cream trucks would be, we could have the food trucks, but it came about because the review that the town could do now is very superficial. This is a much deeper dive, allows the police to get into things that we can't look at. What you would wanna do for someone who's out there. Background areas. That's all.
Okay, and the fee's $100.
Sorry?
This will be an additional $100 fee for these small businesses.
Yep.
All right.
What will be the difference between getting fingerprints or doing a Cory check? And are we allowed to do Cory checks of people?
Yeah, so we currently do what we call iCory. That is, it's not fingerprint based. It's, if you've ever been in courts of the Commonwealth, probation keeps records about everything that's going on. They get funneled into a system. It's name based. It's some other identifiers. It's not, I mean, there's room for errors there. There's rooms for errors in the FBI database too, but with any human process, there's room for errors. And what this really does, and many communities have done, so it would not be unique or extraordinary doing it, is it just adds another tool to the toolkit when we're doing it. And I think one of the reasons that we have to specify the license we do it for is that we have to keep it to a reasonable number. We don't just do it everybody automatically. It really is meant for things that we have a little bit more of a concern for. So again, like an ice cream truck that's driving around, you don't know where it is or who it's interacting with, livery, some of the other things that were named. Those are the kind of things where we may want a little bit of an enhanced screening
So would it apply to Uber and Lyft and all of those folks who are running around out there?
To the extent we issue licenses, we
don't license them,
Yeah.
so we wouldn't see that.
I can tell you that the Department of Public Utilities does run background checks on that.
On Uber and Lyft?
In a different life as the Assistant Attorney General, I remember working on that, so yes, I do.
And there's nothing unconstitutional about us doing this, I'm assuming.
No, this is all, so this whole process, even having to do it by bylaw, this is all specified by federal law, how we do this. So it's a set process. To me, it's a little odd actually having a general bylaw on it, but it's a requirement. So it's, part of the process, and then we would, in the background, finish the process, which requires a little bit of training, some registrations, other things too.
So I'll just ask one final question. What happens if we find a criminal? Through this process, who's in charge of arresting them, or what do they do?
Well, if we find it, it's gonna be in a background check, so we're not discovering a new criminal theoretically, we're just discovering something about somebody that we didn't know, that we might wanna know when issuing a license.
And that, well, does that, my follow-up works, but we still have the authority, this doesn't necessarily disqualify, though. In some cases, it certainly could, other ways would still be up to our judgment, we just know if said person had a history of something, or, protested an anti-war protest 30 years ago. Well, no,
And then it's the person that they say they are.
Yes. And they actually are, or they said.
That person.
And it's-
Using fingerprints.
But the fact that that your fingerprints are on an FBI database doesn't mean you're a criminal.
Doesn't mean they have a record. As a matter of fact, as part of
So
the
if-
process, they have an opportunity to correct mistakes.
So would the police department, if someone, what's the process? If someone is fingerprinted and their name comes up that they're on the FBI database, then what?
There's a process, and we have to give them a reasonable time. If they dispute that, they go to the FBI and they can seek to have that correct. We don't maintain the FBI's database.
So I'll just go hypothetical, someone wants an ice cream truck license, if we do this, it comes back that they have offenses against children, right? They try to lure a child, whatever. We're gonna say, no, you can't have your license. But we have to notify them, this has come up, this is the reason, and they can correct it if it's incorrect.
If that would come up as a result of a fingerprint check?
If they have a record or a charge,
Yeah.
Chief Thompson has his hand up.
I would say in a perfect world, Chief, it would come up both in the I-Corey and the fingerprint. But, if it just came up in the fingerprint, we'd be awful glad to have a fingerprint background check.
Yeah. Chief, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to kind of add one thing that will hopefully just add a little bit of clarity. The idea really is that in kind of the criminal justice world, we want to get to a point of a fingerprint supported record. And Jim had kind of this, the idea being that, in small town Scituate, it's nice when we know everyone, but we may have people who are applying for licenses that we don't necessarily know them. They've been arrested before under an alias. The fingerprint supported record gives us that way to say that when John Smith comes in, we know John Smith, and throughout those criminal justice records that are throughout other states, John Smith is who John Smith says he is. And that's something that we lack right now because we're not necessarily querying things based on a fingerprint supported record. So this is something that's really, it's best practice. Other communities are doing it. And it's really something that we should just be in line with. And we're doing that as well when we're doing our checks.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Questions over here?
I like it, security.
Questions from the audience? Nope, we're good. All right. Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right.
Just a point of information,
Sure.
the bylaw review committee is finally going to convene tomorrow. And they will review these articles as well.
Thursday.
Thursday at 5.
Thursday.
7.
At 7.
All right.
Tomorrow, isn't today Wednesday?
I really have been on that assumption all day as well.
All right, so we are gonna go to land donation. Frank, come on up.
Wait.
Just the land donation?
Yes, it is.
Good evening.
Oh, please. Easy. Tell us about, I do like donation.
So this is a small 8-acre parcel of land off Summer Street. It's actually right at the Scituate Norwell line. There's a couple that had a piece of property. They reside in Norwell, but about 8 acres of their land is in Scituate, and it's part of the South Swamp. And they would like to give this land to the town of Scituate. They're obviously retaining their parcel of land that their house is on in Norwell, but they have this 8 acres behind it, and they'd like them to protect it. They came to the commission quite a while ago. It's gone back and forth. The opportunity to walk the property I did along with Brendan Collins and Eric DiTomasio from the commission. With Mr. Davis, we walked a good part of the property. Some of it's upland, some of it's wetlands. But I think it's a piece of property that has value in terms of protecting. Certainly protects some of the aquifer. South Swamp is all part of that. And so can't see why we wouldn't wouldn't take that. I know it takes a little bit of land off the tax rolls, but it's probably not a piece of tax very much anyways. And I think it would be better in the town of Scituate games than hanging out there.
All right, yeah, so just, yeah, looking at, I mean, the assumption, this is way up there, right there on the border, as you say. All right, let me open it up. Questions, concerns?
That was my only two questions. One is, what is the tax rate on there? What's the tax bill on that property? Did anybody know that? And the second was, it's really, it doesn't have the frontage, it's not developable.
No, well, you can never say never.
Right, well,
So
yes.
if this joins other property that has the potential to be developed, so. We just,
Right, if the lot stays there.
the hope is that when the town has it, at least it's better protected. I'd gladly walk out there, Karen, with you.
No, thanks. I'm happy with that.
For the rest.
Well, my question is, who's gonna hold the conservation restriction on this property?
So in this case, we don't have to have that. The conservation restrictions occur when we get land with the CPC, with the Community Preservation Act monies.
Right.
Because it's both the town money and the state money. In this case, the land is donated to the town of Scituate. So we have lots of land that don't have a CR on them. The ones that come to us through CPA purchase.
Right.
Have to have the CR.
Well, the only reason I'm asking is because these people live in Norwell, the property abuts Norwell. Scituate actually owns conservation land in Norwell.
Right.
And it strikes me that if Norwell bought or donated this property, even though it's in Scituate, they could hold a conservation restriction on it.
We could ask Norwell if they were willing to hold
I'm just curious.
a
because-
conservation restriction, but I'm not sure. There's always a possibility that a neighbor or somebody could dump some yard waste, or somebody could cut a couple of trees or something. The likelihood of a lot of folks getting out there to patrol this is, there are no real trails that go to that piece of property. My inclination is the way that this is, the topography here, it's really not gonna be a big concern. And, now today we can look at almost all these things aerial.
Right.
Right side, I don't know, yeah.
So-
Checking out that campsite drones.
Yeah.
So, and there's no other parties involved in this. I saw mention of a few of some unusual names.
Yep.
In some of this documentation. I just want to be sure that none of this has anything to do with anything that has gone on in the past.
No, this is about.
I'm not trying to be obtuse
No,
here, but-
there was a project that was proposed or started further down from this.
Right.
And I think that these folks were concerned about protecting their property. They did not want to see their property developed in that manner. And that was their concern, that if they left this parcel with the land that they own, that future people could in turn sell it to someone else.
Okay.
So this way, if they donate it, then that seals the deal.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? I don't know, person.
Did you have something? What? No.
Oh.
Sorry. I was just looking at Google Maps, was making.
Nancy has something.
$1,038.
$1,038.
Yeah.
What's $1,038 the
Estimated loss of taxes.
Annually.
That's the
For 8
tax.
Is it that much property tax on that piece of property?
One is assessed at $38,400, the other is $65,300, which is a total of $103,700. At the rate that they just said of $10.01, $8,038 a year for both parcels combined. Keep talking, I can do some more math.
I just asked this question so you can look stuff up.
Does anyone from the public, yes?
Jerry Kelly, 56 Moreland Road. When we first moved to Scituate, we bought a house from Merck Burbank at 122 Summer Street. We backed on to some of this land, and the only thing it's good for is breeding mosquitoes.
Fair enough. All right.
We're protecting our watershed.
And protecting the watershed.
Well, protecting the watershed.
That's right.
Also.
Actually, the land where you live, the land behind it now is land that's protected with community preservation funds. That was purchased, that whole strip that runs between Clap and Cedar Street.
Sure.
Is all protected.
All right.
So I had a question, and I'm pretty sure, no, but I wanna make sure, is there any maintenance, do you anticipate any maintenance on this specific property? I know we've allotted maintenance money for all of the other properties.
So
I'm just
I-
curious what your thoughts are for this one specifically.
I don't think so. I mean, this is just habitat. There's no trails, it abuts the South Swamp. To access that property, you could get out there, it's easier in the winter.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that I would have to do anything there. It's not like we're trying to keep a trail maintained or parking area or anything like that.
Okay, and then I guess how, related but unrelated, how is the maintenance going as far as all of the other properties?
So, we've got a few places, improved upon, and the big one that we're working at, well, we took care of some grading and surfacing on the Appleton Crosby Road. We did some drainage and some grading at Bates Lane, both of them were really appreciated. And what we're trying to do is really get after the Driftway Park. We have short-term and long-term goals. The long-term is gonna be asking for a lot more money because it's the boat launch and parking and all that, but a lesser sum of money will be trails and pathways and whatnot, and we know that that's pretty worn down. And I think we're close to being able to have, Paul Scott, who's our former DPW engineer, has given us sort of a scope of work, and now we're trying to figure out how we can put that together. We're not in the construction end like the DPW, so we're a little lost, and I'm work more in the private sector than the public sector, so sometimes that gets in the way a little bit, but our goal is to get out there as quickly as possible, because it's used a lot. We had some volunteers clean up some of the benches, we did a few little things there, but we've really got to get after that, and I'm hopeful that that'll happen soon.
Great.
And we're gonna try to burn up every dollar that you gave us in a responsible way, so we can get some more done.
Yes, good progress.
Love, motion.
You, the undersigned, representing the majority of the members of the select board of the town of Scituate in accordance with Mass General Legislative C-48C, do hereby approve the acceptance of the town of Scituate Conservation Commission of a gift of land from George H. Davis and Genevieve S. Davis, included in this deed.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gilmore, seconded by Ms. Canfield. What, gives us.
We'll say thank you.
Yeah, we'll say thank you. All right, all those in favor? Aye, it is unanimous.
With our
Many
thanks.
Many thanks,
Many
many
thanks.
thanks. This is a letter. That's really generous.
Yeah.
I think it's people that have, there are a lot of folks that have a genuine concern for this and wanna make sure that it's protected. And Conservation Commission appreciates all your support in these endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not always simple. Thanks
All
again.
right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We have, well, yes. Are some of our,
Final
folks,
Yeah. It gets hotter
are you
by
here,
the minute.
you guys here for the special town meeting or transfers?
Or the budget process update.
The
Well,
budget?
this is a bunch of advisory on the fall too.
Or so everything? Transfers?
I don't want to miss any.
And Cheryl wants to go home.
We go.
Let's, transfer station, let's go. Sorry.
So not to belabor the evening, it's been a long evening for everyone involved. The transfer station rates, we've been before you a couple of times already to discuss them. We didn't do anything, we recommended to the board not to take any action in spring when they were reviewed, so that we could pursue several other options. The problem with the transfer station right now is the rate increase is tied to operational costs. The fiscal 25 budget had revenue projections that were $140,000 less than the budget that's currently in place. One of the things we were hoping to do is reduce the hauling cost budget, and that is not possible. The hauling costs, we'll be lucky to make it through the hauling cost budget we have as it is. We're not recommending to the board that any action be taken at the special reset budget, but there is no way that it can be reduced. The pilot program that we looked at, has not yielded what we wanted to yield from it. We needed an additional 31 tons over the prior year for October to make break even. And so far we only have 38 tons for October, and we'll have that lovely graphic in a moment. The intermunicipal agreements with neighbors not offering C&D, that's still under investigation and something, Kevin's working on, or investigating with other towns. There was in the past a general fund subsidy for the debt service for this enterprise, where the general fund had its own issues, as you'll know in the fiscal 26 budget update. That really doesn't seem to be a possibility for it. And the transportation portion of the household trash, that was something we wanted to put back out to bid. Kevin had mentioned that there was a regional bid that was going out, but it never succeeded in being issued, so that has not yet been addressed.
So if I can jump in, the regional bid didn't work out, there was some problems with it, so it did not occur. We are interested in rebidding it, but we've got the C&D out on the streets now, we don't want to do both at the same time because it just might change the station. Two contracts.
So the pilot program for the C&D to reduce the rate to match Marshfield's rate, there was an uptick in September, but last September was incredibly low, so it's hard to tell if it was an uptick because of the rate or just getting back to normal. And October, it's 40 tons to date, so that's probably to the 10th of October, all the billing we have, Sean.
2 weeks.
So it's looking like that's gonna not be that much, and we may not break even on the pilot program, so it's not something we recommend that you move forward with. We don't have to vote to stop it, it automatically stops at the end of October. The historical hauling costs, as I mentioned before, that it's not going down. As of Q1, we had already expended $189,000, so that's problematic when we only have a $790,000 budget. There should be some decrease in the winter, we'll have less C&D, so we're not gonna make any adjustments to that spring if there really has to be something done. Right now, we need to address this revenue deficit. We cannot set our tax rate without resolving the deficit we have in that enterprise fund. Because of the deficit in fiscal 25, it rolls over into fiscal 26. So the enterprise fund has the same problem for fiscal 26 that it has for fiscal 25. As Kevin mentioned, the C&D contract expires in November 2024. We don't know what we're going to get back on that as a rate. My guess would be that it would go up. Sean, would you agree? And the fiscal 26 projected revenue deficit right now is $133,000 at the time of the presentation. So what do we do to fix this? Well, there's a couple of things you can look at. Sticker fees is the main driver for this presentation. You can increase the mattress fee from $50 to $75. Currently, Sean's making $400 per load. So increasing it by 25% will increase the revenue by 25%. If a mattress gets mixed in with a household trash, we get charged $100. So if one of them finds their way in somehow, and they occasionally do find their way in. And There's other ways we can try to pursue other avenues to reduce expenses like we've been doing. And there's also, in your backup, Sean had a nice, excerpt from the DEP's website on trash bags. So that's another place we could go, increase. I, for one, would rather just stick, not like hit it with everything and have something held in abeyance if we need to go somewhere else in a future year. If we haven't been able to do anything else on the expense side. So the presentation you have before you is to increase the single transfer station sticker from 105 to 140. The additional transfer station sticker from 40 to 60. And then leave the replacement sticker alone. And then the senior sticker would increase by $5, so it would have less of an increase. The prior sticker increase did not affect sales, as you can see. We had actually sold more transfer station stickers in 10 months than we did in the prior 12 months. There was, whether or not it's due to the increase in the replacement or the second sticker, there were fewer second stickers sold. So that might encourage more people not to put the second sticker, stick a single. Those changes would generate about $170,000 in additional revenue, which would resolve the fiscal 25 deficit and fiscal 26 revenue shortfall.
Get people by the stickers.
If people buy the stickers and don't pursue some other option like a private hauler. But I still think $140 for the new year to drop off there is much far cheaper than a private hauler. And none of us are happy to bring this back to you and not be able to say we were able to find this, that, or the other thing over the last 6 months. It's aggravating, to say the least. So please don't feel that we didn't try to do something. We're just as irritated as you are. I was really hoping that we could either have something on the pilot program or that there would be a reduction in the overall hauling costs and we would be able to reduce the budget like we did the prior year.
All right, I mean, I'll just kick it off with general thoughts on this and I'll pass it over. I have learned a lot about the transfer station. It's like my new obsession. Yeah, a 33.3% rate increase is a tough pill to swallow. I know we need the money. I know we've learned that other towns subsidize, actually. Marshfield being one, I believe. Knowing that we can't just always go to the right. And it's one, this is just my personal opinion, how we think about this long term, and I think we should have a longer conversation. It's not 3:30 at night. I hate when people say, government should be run like a business. There's some rare exceptions, like the golf course, and in some elements, this because we're competing against private haulers, we're competing against, and it's the experience when people are there, and it's gonna be easy and everything else. And you guys, they're great people who are there, they're really good folks. I'm nervous how sustainable this is gonna be. But I know we need to get there. We need the resources. So let me open up. We have your hand up.
I do have questions on the first page, the whole framing of this, so rate increases are tied to operational costs related to hauling costs, we see that in the contracts. Contractual increases, we see that, and fuel costs, what's the specific, what are our capital needs? Do we have, I remember the last time we had a list of capital needs, and some of them we were more sure about happening versus others.
Yeah, they do have a 5-year plan, the rolling doors?
Doors.
Are recommended for fiscal 26, and we're using unspent capital articles to fund the majority of that.
Okay.
I'm trying to, the scale came off, and what else do you have on there?
That's all work. I think the scale and the doors were basically maintenance. And I learned about doors through this process, that they only have so many up and downs. They have a number, whether it's 10,000 or 15,000, and you can buy doors with more turns or more opens and closes. So that's what the fear was when we started to go down 2 months ago. That one, and we had a problem last week with another one. It's just, they're all hitting that, I think, that number. So I think it's a valid problem that's gonna be coming down, and if we can't get the equipment, out of the building, we certainly have a problem with that.
Okay. So those are the two capital projects that are baked into why we need the money. And then what are the additional staffing needs?
And
Or is that
We're
additional
fully
to
staffed
what
right now.
we currently have?
Yep.
We're fully staffed right now.
so we added a fifth person.
So it's related to adding the fifth person
Yeah, it shouldn't.
previously?
Yeah, previously.
Okay,
I
it's
should have
not
removed it
additional
from-
staffing moving
No.
forward. Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
what was kind of spent or agreed to spend versus any of this
Yeah.
was optional. So it's all things that have been accounted for
We have,
previously, it's nothing moving forward.
we do have an issue with a payroll issue there. But that's something that's going to resolve itself. So that is causing problems in fiscal 25, but once it is resolved, it will not be a problem hopefully the latter half of this year, and nor at all in fiscal 26.
Okay. So I guess my larger question was, is there any give on the money that we actually need? So that was, so I guess the answer is no.
I really wanted to whack that hauling amount down, but now I'm afraid of.
And it is hard to track it. A lot of the recyclables are based on,
New Jersey
Indices?
index.
in index, correct. So there isn't a common monthly invoice. We were paying for cardboard, now we're reaping benefits. Went from $12, now it's $10. So it is going up and down, so it's hard to stay knowing what you're gonna spend
Gotcha.
through the year, at least to follow it. Again, as Nancy said, everybody keeps going up. We haven't done a whole lot of rate increases on a lot of the materials. Bag may be another way to go as well.
It's still, where are people gonna go if they don't like the increase, right? I think the senior increase is reasonable. I think the other increase is clearly significant, but on a small amount of money over the course of the year. People have no alternative, if they're cost conscious, this is the way to go. So, I as much as we can beat ourselves up over the fact that we can't control the costs of hauling, and the fact that we're not getting paid for recyclables, we're paying to get them taken away. I mean, I think it's all very clear here as to what's going on. So I guess my question, or my statement to the public is, it's still a good deal,
Best deal in town.
right or wrong, it's still a good deal.
It is.
So, to that point, if anyone is interested, I'm sure we'd be willing to sell more stickers, and you could get rid of your private hauling and do something for the environment and keep all those trucks off the Scituate roads and everything, so, I understand.
Is the mall opening at the transfer station?
And the what?
The mall.
No,
Take it or leave it.
take it or leave it.
I believe it's called the mall.
Is it there?
No, I don't
It's
think
been
so.
closed since the
No,
pandemic.
I thought we
It
shut
hasn't.
that, I thought that discussion was.
That was just part.
Thanks, Nancy. Thanks a lot, Nancy. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Just try to lower the hauling costs.
No, I'm just saying that I think, for most people, it's a good deal, and we like to socialize at the transfer station.
Where do you meet?
Take your dog for, a ride. That's what our house does. Why is it an enterprise fund?
Why is it?
Yeah.
It's been self-supporting. When it started taking on debt, then the general fund was subsidizing the debt amount. But then when the debt got paid off, we put a stop to the general fund subsidizing it, because it was getting $100,000 a year from the general fund. There's no point in having an enterprise fund if it isn't self-supporting, in my opinion.
But yeah, is it in the financial interest of the town to have it as an enterprise fund?
Yes.
That was my curiosity. So, Chair's point about some towns subsidize that, that's why I agree that it should be it's a service to our community that costs money. And it costs money that we can't, a lot of it is out of our control. And we have vendors that are, well, I guess of any department. But if we're gonna operate an enterprise fund, it's gotta pay for itself. And this is what the pill is for this year. I don't see any other way out of the conundrum.
And it will address fiscal 26 as well.
Right, and knowing the next conversation we're gonna have tonight, there's no other cushions to look for additional funds for this, even if we wanted to subsidize. So it needs to support itself, because if we didn't have the service for our community, that would be a much bigger problem. So, yeah. I think the structure you presented is as good as it's gonna get.
I mean, again, there's questions about production of hours. There's a lot of, there's so many different things that we're gonna have long term. It's not gonna be,
Right.
35%. Because I'm with you. I think the number one.
Reduction of hours.
Yeah,
Would be like, people would go nuts. They already go nuts that it's not open 2 days a week.
They might go nuts
I'm just saying
when
that
we're at
that's.
$200. And, because I'm with you, we need to sell, to me, we
Right.
gotta sell. Trust me, people need to understand it, we need to sell it. You know, I'm just getting nervous, the math is getting closer and closer. It's $560 for private holiday per year.
Per year?
Yeah. So,
Or more.
so you start doing the math on the bags and everything else, and you're like, wait a minute. But once we cross that, game over, we're not catching up. I think. Tell you right, you can go right now, but, so that we need to sell this thing, the folks need to understand that's a good deal, it's the best deal, and then you start using it, because we're down 50%. On the C and D. We did have our best month in 3 years, best in 3 years. But part of it, because we talked about it and we sold it. Yes.
Chris Garsha, 119 Stockbridge Road. Two things, ending the pilot program means we go back up on C&D rates.
Yeah, it's gonna go up anyway.
I'm a small user, but it's still a cost to me. So I will from now on, take my 3 tons a month and go to Marsh Street.
Yeah.
Because it's 15 minutes down the road. And it's, whether it's a pass-through cost for me or, adds to my profit, it's less money. The other thought that I had, is it time to start looking at, should we look at how we recycle what we recycle? I mean, going to a single stream system, so hauling less, is there other alternatives to how we recycle? Now that we're paying to get rid of all this stuff.
I think we're gonna have to have a separate, full conversation on kind of like where we're going. I mean, Joe, am I crazy that we need to like really understand? I saw you smart, I am a little crazy.
As I said to my wife, that's a separate conversation.
Right, I mean,
Yeah, it's a bag of leaves.
And one of the things that's also been kicked around is if you have a private hauler, you don't have to recycle. And do we require recycling for homeowners who are doing private pickup? Because we recycle at the transfer station,
Some of them do though.
Some
do, but it's not a requirement, a lot don't, they just use a single.
We kind of talked about that, but we never really get into it.
Yeah,
So, well, let's focus about, because yeah, I mean, do we go to single street? I'm with you. All those conversations, that's not gonna be solved tonight, unfortunately.
Just a couple of statistical questions. I'm seeing the transfer station single is 3,965. And if you add the seniors to that, 1,600. How many other people in town are not buying the sticker? And what can we do to get other people in the town to buy the sticker? Now, when I get my sticker, I get an envelope with a sticker stuck in it. I get no information. I get no help. I didn't even know a mattress costs $75. Okay? If there's a way that we can promote what we're doing in a more marketable sense, and that's almost talking private sector, I apologize for violating that old government rule. But I think we need to promote it more. We need to say to people, this is the best deal in town compared to your $540 number, which almost staggered me here. So I would hope that we could, and that goes a little bit further into some of the other stickers we do, where we ask for a beach sticker, yet there's no beach information in the envelope. There's no rules and regulations. There's no nice guides. Where do you dispose of insulin needles? All those wonderful things that are out there somewhere. The information is there, but we don't give it to anybody. As thank you for buying a sticker. This is your program. Take full advantage of it. That's all I can say. And I'm glad we're gonna do this today and not have to visit it for two years. I think that's quite honoring. And I know costs are up. Everything's up.
Quick, Matt, just a quick question for Jamie. Would you envision that as multiple mailings with the stickers, or would you envision that more as almost like a resident welcome package or how-to package?
Sure, you could do it various ways. I think to hit people every time you get a sticker with something revised, something that's up to date and new, I think that gives them value. It gives you a value in hand. Now, I know beach sticker and transfer station sticker come at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. They're in the same envelope.
It depends when you buy it. If you're getting them envelope, you're buying them online. If you're coming in person,
You pick it up.
so it depends.
So I think it should be per enterprise, because then you can ascribe the cost of that brochure to the enterprise. And I think we should have a trail sticker, for example, which we don't have yet. And we don't have maps of the trails. We don't even know where I just walked around Appleton on Monday. It was phenomenal. It's like,
Excellent Eagle Scout project.
yeah, it's gonna be fabulous there.
It was just done in Knoll, they put QR codes, you go up and you get a trail map,
So I think if we can try to promote more, I know the reduction in the rates was a great effort, a great try, but a lot of people didn't catch on to it fast enough. So, but I think if we can promote it more and not make it just a rule booklet, you can't do this, you can't do that. But did you know that you can dispose of these things at these nominal costs? I finally had to get rid of a sofa. Because you hang on to everything forever. But when I was tired of falling over the sofa in my garage office, I'm like, I gotta get this out of here. I don't know, I never knew you could drive up and behind and throw it off onto the thing, and the guy chops it all up, and it's $22 they weigh, it's a good deal. And I don't know, if we could educate more, I don't know how you do it, somebody wants to step up as a project. But make that sticker more valuable and helpful.
I think you and I are the part of it is almost like the private sector that we need to sell this thing. And I guess we're not gonna solve it today. I'm just gonna mention people would be upset, but like Pembroke's, there's other towns that are open 2 days a week. We may have to, if it's gonna we may have to talk about.
You might as well close it down. I'm serious, you go to 2 days a week,
We'll let them do it in June. Just saying.
We're getting to the point.
This is, I'm in
Well-
favor of what we have to do tonight, as
Yeah.
reluctant as it is. Only if we commit to go forward to make some
Yes.
extra efforts to embellish
See what we
it
can do.
and really put the word out what a
Alright.
great deal it is.
I just have one.
Sure.
I
Yes.
know this is like a reduction of revenue, so, but I just wanna throw it out there, cause I feel like I have to when we're talking about household trash, and we have the Scituate Food Pantry that serves a couple hundred Scituate families. I know some are seniors, some are not, and if there's ever a way we could offer a senior slash food pantry lower reduction rate, I would always be in favor of that. I know we tried it on the bags, but the bags got too expensive. But the food pantry hands out food every week, which equals trash. And I think, while some are seniors, they're not all seniors. So if there was ever a way to make that rate applicable for folks who are food insecure in the town, I would be in favor of that.
Can I ask you a question, your knowledge? Somebody that's using food pantry, are they regular? Or are they, hey, I need it for 6 weeks?
I think they're giving like regular.
They are?
I think, yeah, I think it's on and off,
It
but
varies.
it varies, but it's.
There are a lot of people who are regulars and but it's going like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's regularly increasing.
Because I was thinking maybe you could do a, like a temporary pass for an individual that's relegated to go there, they think you can get a
Yeah, I
temporary.
mean, one of the, aside from the revenue issue, one of the issues would be there's no requirement for the food pantry. I don't have to tell them that I lost my job, or that I can go to the food pantry tomorrow,
Yeah.
on their list, so you might be helping people that wouldn't meet the criteria normally to get help. Does that make sense?
Would it make sense to do any sort of like a survey monkey survey, very brief, like 10 questions? What do you know about the transfer station? You know, would you consider using it instead of using a private hauler? Because I do think that there are some environmental groups up there, and I was being somewhat serious about the trucks on the roads. That if we could reduce the number of private hauler trucks on our roads, maybe it would be beneficial in a lot of ways.
Do they have to pay for licenses to pick up in our town?
No.
Private haulers could just come in.
License. What help?
I'd say that you have a lot,
Can we figure-
this is a meaty thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
But I'm glad that we should talk about it again in the future. Do we have, I love the idea of the survey, by the way. Are we gonna go forward with the current proposal? 35, 20, and 5? Thanks, maybe. Motion.
To increase the fee for residential transfer station tickets by $35, 105 to 140. Additional transfer station stickers for 40 to 60, transfer station stickers for seniors from 70 to 75 effective January 1st, 2025, and to increase the disposal fee for mattresses from $50 to $75 effective January 1st.
Moved by Ms. Canfield, second, second by Ms. Connolly. All those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. I love that one.
No.
Thank you very much.
All right, recommendations for special town meeting. Oh, sorry.
Alan, you only did one part of it.
Oh, yeah, really? Well, yeah.
I just checked it all.
3 bullets.
Not be paying attention here.
Sure.
All right, page.
What page are you on?
Chad, something,
Completely lost it.
did you want to do the budget for your advisory committee funds?
Yes.
That are all floating around?
They're right there on the.
Yes, let's do that.
And you're only half an hour, I'll start there.
Where are you at?
I don't know what
I don't wanna-
page it is.
Okay,
I don't know what my screen. 110,
Very end.
So it is online.
110 on mine too.
That's more badness.
I know.
So you, obviously you'll be getting a detailed budget presentation when I come into the budget. You see how we're working on this, we'll go through the budget process today, financial forecast, fixed costs and what we're looking at. I apologize for the slide, I didn't realize how weird that sidebar was.
And
That's really
no,
gonna
it's my stomach acid. That's
Yeah.
why we went for this one.
That's bad.
Quartz and some sort of mineral.
Lava lamp.
Looks like
A lot of clots.
So,
cells.
so for people who, just so they understand, we have a financial forecast committee made up of, the finance team from the town, schools, board member, the advisory board, capital budget. We meet and determine what we think the revenue is gonna be for the upcoming year, what the fixed costs are gonna be, and then in essence, what's left over for general appropriations, which is then split between the town and the schools. So we met at the beginning of September, about the preliminary numbers. We started all the budget documents. Request to do 10-3. That first full week, 10-7, you probably realize what a bad mood I was in because Nancy and I met all day, every day. The town departments are going through those. We then got our MedX numbers. MedX is our over 65 population is 53% of our health insurance population. And that rate increase came in at 15%. That is not usage, that is not drugs, that are just changes by the federal government that are being passed through directly on us, on how they bill the Medicaid. So we met and we adopted the new financial forecast. Next page, Nancy. Our original forecast, shared costs were $22,542,000. They went up to $22,814,000 in the next financial forecast, which was obviously a big jump. We lost $540,000 in available revenue that we would have used on town budgets. So that was a big hit. We knew going into this year, next slide, we knew going into this year that it was gonna be a tough year, it was gonna be problematic. We saw the revenues going down, we knew our costs were going up. Employee pension, a big increase, health insurance, a big increase with the medics. We are right now projecting a 9% increase on the active plans. We'll get that number in January. The last couple of years, it's been less than that. We're hoping that comes out again. We're also looking at some option there. And then the regional school assessment is up significantly. We have additional people going to Tech, which is good that we're utilizing the school, but bad because we pay for everybody who goes there. The regional school assessment will get trued up, health insurance will get trued up. So we got our request, town department request for $2.3 million over what we had forecast for revenue. 900 of that was fairly easy. That was additional requests for additional staff. Police, library, this year IT asked for an additional person. We removed all those. We looked at positions that have been funded and not filled for quite some time. I recommended that those are not going to be filled going forward. We just can't carry those. We removed a bunch from purchase of service. One of these on here, you'll see veteran subsistence. We have $100,000 in that line. We haven't spent more than 50 the last 4 years, so we reduced that slightly. It will not mean any veteran will go without assistance. They will get it. Veterans assistance is actually one of two things that you can deficit spend besides snow and ice. We haven't been using that money, so we reduced that. Contractual bargaining, we reduced that significantly because all our contracts are done. For the coming year, we also use that to fund the labor council. But with contracts done, the labor council's costs should be significantly less. And right now, we do not have any ongoing labor issues that require getting the council to table, so we're in good shape on that. And then once again, the seawall and road repair, we took that down last year. This year, we funded that with solar and wind. That's on the table again, but I did not put that in the budget. We also made a reduction in cruises. As of the 15th, we still had 264,000 to go through. You can see by my happy face, Nancy and I worked the last 2 days on that. We've got it down to 0. I'm going through it. I'll clear it out with the board on where we are on that. Everybody takes a little bit of a hit. Everybody's taking a little bit of a shave. We will still be able to do what we need to do. Some of the things that we looked at, summer help in the DPW, which is great, but between the two of them, it's about $60,000 that we spent on summer help, so that was something to look at. But we will, we'll get it to you. It's done. It's not great, but it is done, and the town will be able to provide our essential services going forward. And we'll need to have those conversations that we started having last year. The 27, what do we want to look like going forward? Again, the big, what are you talking about? The big changes on growth. 24 was what, 1.9 million?
Yeah.
So the new growth from 24 was 1.9 million. 25, it's 800,000. Next year it's projected at 700,000. We do have several large projects that have been permanent. We're hoping now that interest rates are coming down, those will stop moving almost all in the driftway. There is one on Grove Street, the 40B, that's been approved already, but that hasn't moved at all. So we're hoping those start to jump now that the interest rates have started to come down. But that's a big change. The state also changed the way we calculate growth. So things that we calculated as new growth before, like a new kitchen or a new roof, the state is now saying those don't count. You can't count those as growth. I think Joe estimated that cost us between $100,000 to $200,000 more. We would count as growth. The state now says we can't. So that'll be very helpful as we go forward. So it's a tough looking budget, but the news isn't all bad because we still provide the services that we need to provide to the residents of Scituate. Good high level manner. Just we won't be able to do some of the things that we wanted to do going forward. So that's high level. As I said, I got to kind of go through what the change we made, make sure everything is copacetic, and then we'll share that budgets with you. We've also done all the enterprise accounts. I'll just touch on that briefly. We brought those down. The golf course is good. I think Ian is still going to come in looking for some rate increases on the golf course. The golf course budget is balanced. Water department is balanced. Sewer department will require a very small increase, but not much. Transfer station should have been taken care of tonight. And waterways is balanced without a rate increase. So the only increase we will be required to do to meet the budget, I think, is sort of this point. Everything else would balance without a rate increase. Transfer station not taken care of because of the way you did. So only rate increase on that either was. That's kind of upside down. So the good news is people will not be getting a double hit that tax will be going up and down on the fee. So. You know, we always talk about we only have one pocket. So it's not like you have one pocket for your water bill and one pocket for your tax, and it's all coming out of the same pocket. So if we can keep some of those from going up, that's a good thing. So we knew it was going to be tough. I think it was. It's a little worse than we anticipated last year with those hits on the revenue side and the fixed cost, but we'll get there. We'll get it done.
All right. Federal government, huge increases on healthcare benefits. State changes, that's taken us about 100 to 200,000. You know, there's a lot of bad news here, but you want to know the good news? I've never seen more stress and anxiety over trying to find $250,000 in the budget in all the years to work on K Street in DC and the State House, and the two of you looking for every single dollar. And I think it's going to be able to give us the chance to re-examine some of these things, to re-examine some of our priorities, and make sure that we're giving the right services. So as difficult as this is going to be, I'm very proud of the work and actually excited for us to kind of continue forward to see what exactly is it that we need to provide for the residents. So I wanted to say thank you. Just let's not add to those healthcare costs. from stress, so take a breath. But thank you for getting us there. So, but with that, I'll open it up. It's thrilled. That is. But good work.
Do I understand that you're gonna come back with the resolve of the 264,000?
Yeah, we resolved that by the end of the day today.
Okay.
I need to go back and look at it and digest it a little bit. There's a lot of back and forth between Nancy and I. Don't got that. What about this? How about we move this?
And the most significant hit to this was the health situation, correct?
And that's our biggest increase on the other side there. We do have some options.
Any way to manage that around?
We do have some options that we're talking about. But health insurance trends in the market are 8 to 9%.
Right.
Pharmaceutical is 13 to 14%. Those are gonna go up no matter what. We're gonna have to try to do is maybe find a way to mitigate what those rate increases are. So we do have a couple of options that we're looking at, we're talking about. We may be bringing back to you. They're not gonna drive that cost way down, but they will maybe mitigate the increase.
Lovely answer. Thank you. I echo Andrew's words as well. I know we're in good hands with you guys. I know we are. And I know you're being very professional about it and leaving no stone unturned, so. Let's just take it a day at a time as you go.
January, we'll get the health insurance number. We have it at 9. That could come in 5, 6, 7. That'd be good. We'll get a state aid now. We'll get an idea on state aid in December when they have their consensus revenue meeting. Although Governor Baker had pledged and kept his pledge that whatever state revenues are going up, that's what state aid was going up. Governor Haley has not made that pledge yet. She has done it, but she hasn't said that. But if we know revenues next year are up 2%, we would expect at least a moderate increase, very moderate increase in local aid. And then, the millionaires tax, the so-called millionaires tax, brought in significantly more last year than they projected. We have to see what's gonna happen with that, where it's gonna go, whether or not we'll be a benefit of that. So there is potentially some good news on the horizon. We just don't know how good it might be.
So we do not see a need for an override.
That's more your decision than mine. I will put it funny, there's nobody walking out the door, if that's your question. We're not laying anybody off, we're not reducing a level of services, the positions that I'm eliminating haven't been filled in a while. One of them is the assistant town administrator director plan, that's been happy for a while. Hate to give it up, but it's a lot of money, and we've upgraded Corey's position to take some of those responsibilities as a project manager. So she's kind of doing all the grants and things that position is doing. But when you look at it, as much as you'd like to keep it, what would you have to get rid of to keep it? We haven't had it. Again, it'll be great. One of the individuals we interviewed for the position is in municipal government, so it'll be great. I'd love to have that position, so I don't have to go to night meetings. I kind of looked at it and said, that's why I'm hiring that position, so I don't have to go to night meetings. But we really couldn't find a good fit for it, what we're looking for, and it's just $120,000. It's an easy crap. It's just, I ain't saying it's easy crap.
Well, it's just that I know that there's been talk around the area about overrides, and it sounds to me like we're trying to avoid that.
We will need to have a very, very long discussion, serious discussion about it after the VOTAC vote in January. If that passes, we will see a significant increase probably in fiscal 27 on our VOTAC assessment as they start the new building. That we will not be able to absorb. The last numbers I saw from the Scituate portion was $600,000.
So if there were to be, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that in terms of the town operations, we're trying to avoid an override. As far as the regional school thing is concerned, if we needed to, we could do an override, but it would be dedicated specifically to that, for that purpose.
Most likely be a debt exclusion because it's a capital project. And that way, if it fluctuates, because we're gonna vote to change the way we assess that, Every 4 years it'll change, so if you do it as a debt exclusion, whatever the debt exclusion is, that's what's added, so if it goes up, we add to it, if it goes down, we take it away, it's a direct impact on the taxes as opposed to general. Where if we say 600 and all of a sudden it's 800 with 200 short. But that's definitely gonna have to be looked at in 27. But I will always put a budget before you that's balanced, that doesn't require an override. And then we'll have a discussion whether or not we think that that's something that the residents are gonna want. Right now, again, no one's walking out the door, there's no police going, there's no fire going, no DPW going. Library, town hall, everybody's working, we buy the same number of people. Faces on the street to people, like in the town hall, we'll have the same hours, we'll have everything that they have now, so. What to get into, we're gonna need some more police officers, the library's request for the children's librarian, IT, obviously, we have 3 people doing all the IT for the town. That's the networks and everything, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. And, some things that we're working on, Mike's like, I can't be involved with, I just don't have the bandwidth, and then we go back and say, well, I don't think I gotta do it that way. Well, we would like to meet everybody's, love to be able to say, yeah, you can have anything on, we'll do it, but just.
So my finally bombshell question is, any sense of where the school committee is going on this budget year?
I have not talked to them yet, their big unknown is gonna be their teacher's contract, which is up, but they haven't started negotiating that yet. But that'll be their big unknown cost driver, if the teacher's contract expires.
So I just to editorialize that we on the town side are trying hard not to do an override.
That is always my goal.
And I'm sending this message out to my fellow citizens committee members at the school committee that I hope they would strive to take this equally seriously, including if they're negotiating with the school, with the teacher's contract.
They've been great partners, they really have.
But I hope so, because
This year, we changed the split to help the town out a little bit in the current fiscal year, and they were fine with that, so. They've been great partners, they know what the numbers are, they have them. They know what their contract costs. Just, the days of getting a contract at 1.5%, they're gone. They're gone, I mean, the 3-year contract. So I didn't wanna guess, but it's not gonna be 6, that's for sure. We didn't see any of those on our side. With inflation, I mean, it's just the way it is, but. Good question.
So just two comments. One is, Andrew, you're 100% right. This is, when we knew it was coming, we need to figure out a good, disciplined, structured way of doing the assessment of, are we providing the, do our services align with the needs and our, if they don't align with the needs and they don't align with what we can afford. So to have that real analysis done clearly, I know you guys have already gone through, knowing what the tax rate's gonna look like or the tax bills are gonna look like for the next couple of years. The thought of a significant override is, like you said, Andrew, I think that we need to have a real serious conversation about our staff. The other point I wanted to make, sorry, I'm tired, it's late. The other question or point I'm worried about is if we have a level funded budget and, you figured out how to do it, kudos, because I didn't know how you were gonna do it. How are we gonna support the staff? Is there's gonna be less people because you're not filling positions. And we haven't cut services. We're expecting them to continue to provide.
Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna have to do any more because those positions haven't been filled. And they've been empty for a while, so it's not as if the person just left, now I'm not gonna fill it, I have to take up all that slack. These positions haven't been full for a while, so the impact on the staff in terms of that should be minimal. But, we cut some budgets, the training budget won't be as robust, won't do as much of that. Conference budget won't be as much of that, so got stuff that have to go. We'll have to rely a lot more of the Maya training that is free. Quite a lot of the department, especially DPW, into that, they do a lot of chainsaw training, confined space training, things like that, so. People are just gonna have to be a lot more aware of their budgets and what they have and what they spend on it. They're usually pretty good, that's why we turn back so much money at the end of the year. Because we have instilled that mindset, they do have the mindset, before I do it, I really need to do it, it's really something I want to spend my money on. So they're very disciplined about that, but it's gonna have to be even more so.
My last question was in the first, in the presentation cuts, right at the zero. Yeah, the training and the IT cuts. Are we, are any of the things that we're foregoing potential investments and cost savings down the road?
Trying to avoid that, streetlight repair was a new line that we put in, we'd love to see that, maybe more aggressive on keeping our streetlights on, we still have $55, we'll continue to do what we do. Get a big list where we have a critical amount, and I call the contractor to come do all once. IT security looked at that, I mean, our IT budget has gone up double digits for the past 5 years. And it's just, you can't handle that growth, so you have to be a little more cautious, do that. And if you wanted another position, it would be great, one of the places I would have done first because it's so important. I think the training that we do has been excellent. It's a pain. It really is for those of you who haven't finished it yet. I won't mind some people haven't, but it's really good training, and it's not just for here, it's for home too. My wife always gets those emails, your Amazon account's been frozen, log in. I'm like, no, just hover the mouse over the email address and you'll see it's not a real account. So we've invested a lot of money in IT. Something we need to keep an eye on, but we just can't keep up with that. The growth we have.
Thank you for the yeoman's, always, the yeoman's work.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of the same questions that we'll talk about when we get the additional 264 shortfall, but I mean, looking at this, the majority is whether it's vacancies, hours, or unfunded overtime or new positions, so it's all, the majority of it, over $1 million is staffing, so. We've got to think about that in the future. And it's related to services and or support for the, so I think we're all kind of on the page, same page.
We offer a lot more hours of this than other towns. We do this.
Yeah.
Andrew brought up the transfer station. We open the transfer station less. The only thing I say to that, we could have 4 feet of snow, the entire town's flooded, there's no power, there's aliens landing, and the call we get is the transfer station.
You would.
But when you have to be people that, it just isn't, you want the transfer station open a lot, it's what are you willing to pay to have the transfer station?
Right.
A lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Open that. That's one.
Yeah.
Any other questions? None. Thank you. All right. We're taking, because everyone is taking a 3-minute recess. Hold on, not yet. Yes, we are. All right, we gotta do the recommendations. We're back. Recommendations for town special.
I think we should have them. I've never had those.
And the consent agenda and then the article assignments.
Can someone help me with the page number of the
54 is where I'm at on town meeting articles.
Masses. Okay.
All right, so below. We have all the articles 1 through 6. Article 1 is unpaid. Prior year bills. Does anyone have any? Didn't think so.
Oh.
I can do that.
Number 2. Number 2 is budget reconciliations. That's just again, we're moving money back in Housekeeping.
Yeah, housekeeping, 3, grant match, housekeeping, 4, of the rescission, housekeeping, 5 and 6, transfer to reserves. So, well done, we're still getting 50% on, so 1 to 5. And 6, pretty simple.
Motion?
And then,
Um,
and then we have to do,
Just hold, can I just note that whoever drafted this. Wait. It has still have Maura's name on it.
Where? It does, yeah.
Where?
At the end of the.
Oh, Michelle fixed it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, page 6.
Yeah, Michelle fixed it for me.
Okay.
I hadn't given it to Michelle to be my editor. As soon as I gave it to Michelle.
Gotcha, okay, that was my only comment.
You have a motion on that, please?
But 10:30.
well, not yet, because we're gonna have to do, I mean,
It's a separate.
so
motion.
capital. All right,
You voted 6, 7, 8 already in prior meetings. Yep.
so we just need 10, 11, 12,
And 13.
13, sorry, so 10, let's see, we get to 10. This is the general bylaw. Anyone had, this is housekeeping.
That was the licensing thing you went through earlier today.
Right, so does anyone, I mean, before you go through, does anyone have any issues with any of these?
No.
No, I have to say, I'm not. As much as I respect, Chief Thompson's recommendation of Article 12, and especially given his recent graduation from the FBI program. I'm not sure, I need more time to think about that one,
Okay.
whether I can support it.
That's fine. And how about 13, remove firefighters, fire lieutenants, fire captains from civil service, which is something.
We've all been talking about.
That's been in the
No.
works for many years.
Yeah, so we're all good.
Yeah.
All right, so can I get a motion for everything except for 12? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 10, 11, and 13.
Move to recommend Articles 1 through 6 and Articles 10 and 11 and 13 of the November 18th, 24 special town meeting warrant, and authorize the town administrator to do any additional unpaid bills presented prior to the posting of the warrant.
Moved by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Harrison.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Nancy, when do we need to put this one tonight, don't we? Okay.
The fingerprint one?
Oh, we do?
The next meeting's November 5th, and it has to be posted
yeah.
at least 14 days in advance, so we won't make it.
Okay.
Would you like to, I mean, you can always abstain.
I can abstain. Or I could vote no.
You don't know. Just giving you.
I think it's good practice.
What's good practice?
Good fingerprint.
Oh, no, I see the merits, but my concern has more to do with. We only have, I mean, we're not gonna have 100 food trucks and vendors and all of that stuff here. And of all of the food trucks and all of the applicable licenses we're doing right now. We've had one new that I haven't personally known for at least 10 years. And we're gonna ask them to pay another $100 for a license they've received for years and years and years.
Cost of doing business.
No,
We didn't-
I
we
know,
didn't
and
have-
I don't think it's a terrible
Food
thing.
trucks was not included.
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
all those things
I
that
was gonna put it in there because you had mentioned it, but we don't have to.
no, I wasn't in the original list. We had the new guy come with the ice cream truck, he visited the community this year. And the only livery license I've heard of is somebody that's lived in the community, 50 years. So I don't know, I'm a little worried about that, are we putting an additional burden on what is 99% local small businesses?
And can you just say one more thing, because it's not in here, what precisely are those other licenses? So ice cream trucks,
Ice cream trucks, secondhand
Delivery.
livery on,
Ice cream truck vendors, food truck vendors, dealer of secondhand articles, including junk dealers and collectors, and pawn dealers.
If you junk collectors, what's that?
And hackney and livery drivers and owners, operators of other conveyors of passengers. It's too late to say conveyors.
Alright, so what's a secondhand and junk?
That's me.
No, seriously, I mean, is that, like, we're talking trash haulers or, I mean, I'm not trying to be glib, I'm serious.
no, like a pawn shop almost. Junk
Or
dealers,
the-
and junk dealers is almost like a scrap dealer,
Oh.
one of those, but.
Like over in,
So not someone who like comes in like clean through your garage, you know,
who's the guy over
We
in the
know
West End
what's that, I mean, that's what I was confused.
with the junkyard?
Itchy's Corner?
Yeah, anyway, that one.
You can clean
You
it
have
up.
to get fingerprinting.
Look, he's not running that, he just says, oh, my God, say it.
He's not selling anything else.
Delivery drivers,
I can't imagine livery drivers aren't already fingerprinted.
Well, it doesn't even apply to the Uber and Lyft drivers, like Karen said.
That would be people who would.
Being
Part of the license.
Oh, you're like a limousine company.
Right, but I also
I mean,
can't
is-
imagine that.
is the question, is it the fee, you know, like $100 fee?
I just,
That's the cost of doing it, that's what we would pay that.
Right.
yeah,
I mean, how many do we do though?
well, if you look,
Liveries, we got a couple of livery drivers and a couple of livery services, and they would have a couple of drivers, so.
They have a bunch of drivers. Oh, I've taken them and I've had at least 4 or 5 different more drivers.
well,
4
if
or
you
5 different
exclude food
times.
trucks, I would be more inclined, because all of our.
Alright,
food
we can
trucks-
put food trucks in, we can take food trucks out, that was just your suggestion.
Yeah,
That's
but ice cream
100%
trucks,
right.
kids are like running to.
Well, no, ice cream trucks would still be in as a separate, because that's a separate license. too.
No, ice cream trucks, I totally support
I feel
that.
like if we missed that, that would just be so horrible.
Is the concern more the actual fingerprinting or is the concern the $100?
I think, both, actually. I think mostly the additional burden that is unnecessary since impractical, you know, maybe down the road we might need something like this, but right now I feel like we're just putting on, additional burden on local small business. So if we take food trucks out, I feel more comfortable.
You could take the livery drivers out too, it's just, that's. What's the ironic thing, your parents always told you, don't talk to strangers and never get in a car with a
Yeah,
stranger,
no.
now you call a stranger to come pick you up in their car.
I bet you they're already, I can't imagine they're not already background checked.
They are background checks, Susan, but it's, again, you're doing a background check on me, I tell you, this is my name, this is my social security number, you check it, this is what comes back.
Right.
If I do a fingerprint, it comes back, wait a second, he's also Jimmy the Deuce, who's been accused of other things
In Chicago.
someplace else, right, and then I have an alias or
It's a national database.
I spelled my name with an X.
What, and what's the total, so if I want, I'm doing an ice cream truck tomorrow. What's my total fee? $100 and what?
It's an ice cream truck fee, $50.
50 or 45.
So, for me to operate an
Yeah,
ice cream
yeah,
truck in town is $150.
Yeah, but if you have a board of health license, probably another $50.
But you wouldn't have to do that check again next year. It's once it's been done, it's been done.
It'd be annual.
It'd be
No, I think
part of
they-
the renewal process.
I think they alert you too, if you're the employer, they'll alert you. That someone got a DUI or something.
Yeah, but for fingerprinting, they only do that once.
Yeah, 2 livery licenses in town. And how many drivers do they have?
Well, once you've been fingerprinted, you've been fingerprinted. You're in the FBI database.
Right, but you still have to pay this fee every year.
But they, all renewals, you pay fees every year for renewals of licenses.
Yeah, so we're making it extra hard, I mean,
I don't know why you would charge them twice for fingerprinting them. You shouldn't have to fingerprint them again,
Couldn't you waive it? You could probably waive that.
because I know
Yeah, I mean,
license to carry,
what's
fingerprint
done,
once,
done.
that's it.
yeah,
And
I
now I still have to pay for the renewal. But that's more of paperwork and stuff that they do. It's not, they're not asking me to my hands up anymore.
So I wonder if the $100 is the fee to do the search.
Maybe it is.
That's what it is, that's the cost that we pay to have it done.
I don't have a problem with it because you're really there just to protect the people. That's
I don't
it.
either, it's like all good.
And other communities are doing it.
Yeah. No, but I was just, I mean, if the issue is more the money, we're talking, we're scrap for money. Talking about 7 licenses, you say $50, like, we meet the cost. $600, I don't think we're gonna. You know what I mean? All right.
Well, can we, Mr. Chairman, can we vote on the article?
Yeah.
Without voting on the costs?
No, I think we have to do everything. There's the first question, we put food trucks in or not? You say no, you'd more likely.
I would prefer, I mean, every single food truck operating this town, this is a small business, so this, all about the Scituate restaurant. Does that mean they're one of them in Crete? I don't know, but.
Well, I don't think it's fair to discriminate. I mean, ice cream is food, food is food.
Right.
But the difference is the food trucks are licensed to operate in specific areas.
Yeah.
As opposed to just
Driving through.
meandering through town, you don't know where they are, you don't know what they're doing. Whereas a food truck, they could be here, and here.
No more ice cream trucks. Think the dump.
I bet.
Yeah, I do think there's a difference, that's all, but, cause one's a specific location.
A location.
Don't know
Or
how
two
to
locations, yeah, and they're like public, it's like the town.
You can add them
The
later.
lighthouse.
Suddenly get a wave of food truck applications, we can add them later. I don't think the board's gonna approve a bunch of food trucks because they have so much impact, well, it's too much of an impact on your businesses.
Yeah.
So leave the food trucks out.
Well, policy wise, I mean, if you wanna include for good reason, that's fine, but I mean, we don't know, it doesn't have to be unanimous, but we will have that conversation. Somebody will ask that question.
All right, let's first take on food trucks. Who wants food trucks again? None, so food trucks are out. Okay,
Okay.
so ice cream trucks, whatever a junk dealer is, and the 2 livery drivers. Really, that's, yeah,
Molly alone.
10%.
all right. All those in favor of Article 12, say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed?
You took, but,
You had it to begin with.
no,
I'm sorry, I was messing with that.
Yeah, we didn't do a motion.
Unanimous vote in
No one
support.
did a motion, no second, but everyone voted
I didn't
yes.
But the chairman took control.
I just want to see where we were. Now we need a
Okay.
motion. Motion
And it's to have
approve
no
12.
Motion to accept Article 11,
12.
Wow.
12, to approve Article 12 without food trucks.
Moved by Mr. Gilmore, seconded by Ms. Harrison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Want to see if.
What are we voting on?
Is there, who's after this?
All right. You don't have to assign them tonight.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just your consent agenda. Consent agenda.
Let's have a motion for the consent agenda, Mr. Clerk.
Motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
For the SDM, Gilmore, seconded by Ms. Harrison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Let's declare a surplus, Nancy. And then see if we can get to financial policies, which.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna come today. So you have before you a list of surplus items that departments have declared that they no longer have use for, that we would like to offer at public auction. If the board is in agreement with that.
All right, anyone have questions? This is on page 117, I believe. The Ford pickup truck, there's a wooden dollhouse, copier.
It's the
Library.
library.
Speaker set, there's a 05 Chevy Silverado. Oh. Computer, we're all good. All right, motion.
Move to declare the attached list of items as surplus for auction.
By Ms. Canfield, second by Saracen, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. All right, let's do these rewards. This is catch basin cleaning at the basic unit prices. This is on page 119. This was a competitive bid. This was through the MAPC.
I know, this one isn't.
I know.
Their accidents.
They're normally through MAPC, but they haven't been able to get their.
Oh, I'm sorry. These services are normally originally through MAPC. We do that for permissions. Thank you, sorry. That's through ourselves. Okay. So let's take a second here. Haste makes waste. But the price per basin is down, yeah, wow, huge price difference.
Yeah.
It is an increase, but it's the lowest of everyone doing.
So I just had one question, why there wasn't like a not to exceed? They're just bidding the price and we know that it's 2,200 basins.
It depends, so if there's a big storm coming in, they'll call the catch basin cleaning company to come and empty all the catch basins again before the storm. If we have a couple of big storms, then they call them out the third or fourth time.
So it's not the number of basins times the cost equals the not to exceed, because the basins are cleaned periodically.
Yeah, if there's gonna be any type of overflow, they're gonna go after them.
So then I guess my other question is there a not to exceed on this contract?
You can put one on there if you want, it's up to you. The reason why we did it as a sealed bid to award by the select board is because in 1 year they did $66,000 for catch basin cleanings. And another year, they did a fraction of that.
Okay.
Because this can be renewed for 2 additional years.
Okay. So that's probably why you don't do the not to exceed. And then is this rate? Would be for the next year too?
It's good for 1 year, we cannot extend if they won't hold the rate.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Looks good. Good?
Yeah.
All right,
I'm good.
motion. I'm sorry, did you please?
No, I'm just. Vote to award a contract to Equity Corporation of North Attleboro for catch basin cleaning services at the unit price of $17.35 per basin. This contract is for 1 year and may be extended for 2 additional 1-year periods by mutual agreement. Second.
By Ms. Campbell, seconded by Ms. Conley, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Well, talk about it.
The current list, no motion.
It's just to put it on your radar that the warrant will be opening in 2 meetings and closing in 3.
Excellent. So I'll
Okay.
take a look at that. There's no motion. At your leisure, but do not.
What are I did have one question, what are the zoning bylaw amendments?
Don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
This is just my running list of placeholders.
Got you.
One of them will be accessory dwelling units.
Okay, I wondered that actually.
They're working with council to try to figure out how we
Okay.
have to comply with the statute. Statute's kind of vague.
Gotcha, okay. Good.
All right, drain layers.
Move to approve the renewal drain license for PL Markets and Sons Inc. at Maplewood Company.
Second. Maybe Ms. Campbell, seconded by Gilmore, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Everyone's gonna hate me, financial policies, is there anything that we want to?
There's quite a bit in there that you might wanna take a closer look at.
Yeah, well, I get, so here's just, we're not gonna spend a lot of time, I just wondered, like, what areas do people have the most concerns about, I guess?
I think, and actually, not speaking for everyone, but it seemed to me as though there were just a number of things that are current practice that are easy to say, good to go. The ones I was concerned about, I think they were highlighted in green. Nancy?
Green and yellow.
And I think, especially the green ones, I think need discussion. I forget why the yellow ones didn't seem to be as, when I read them, as problematic, but the green ones.
Green are brand new, yellow are kind of doing it, but not codified anymore.
Current practice, so that's what I would suggest we just concentrate on the greens and the yellows, and if there's any way, as I suggested in an earlier meeting, that we approve those things that are not, we're good about, or you wanna, if you wanna do the whole thing all at once, that's fine.
I just don't wanna take the other financial policies out of order until we have a new set to go in place, but I don't want the board to do anything in a rush. It's a very important decision, so I'm, like I said at the last meeting, this might not happen at this meeting. It might not happen at the next meeting, it depends on what your schedule is. I just don't want us to adopt something and then be like, oh, why'd we do that?
Well, I'm not being facetious, these are policies, they are rescindable, or, I mean, we can fix them and or, so we're not signing any sort of a death warrant here.
It's not written, there's not like a blood oath that we're taking.
Right, but the, when I saw the number of green highlighted policies, that's got me concerned.
I think we should just have an opportunity to read through all this, and deal with the whole thing next meeting, if we can.
Yes, and we're not doing notes or anything else. I will say, that's precisely what I was gonna say, is that I think it's really the green is the most, I'm dying to.
It's not the blue, it's the green.
Yes.
Yeah, I would
just
if you look at the blue, but the green is where you should go.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. And that's the ones we, when we went through them originally, that we held some of them, we flagged some of the green.
Right, but everything else, I guarantee that.
Go for the green ones. I can print this out and I can read this.
Perfect, all right. Liaison reports.
Right?
Go, yep, you can go.
I had sent you guys, the writing for the hate language earlier today. So please, from the EEI committee. So take a look at that, and perhaps we can get that into the town to put it on the website, or wherever you think is appropriate. Obviously, we're gonna maybe miss it for this
I was
election.
just gonna say, I think this election is.
But whatever, I mean, I don't know what the reporting has been down at the, at sign holes and things, of people that behaving themselves, which I've not seen very much bad vibes from anybody. So, but I think it's still good practice, and I think they spent some good time on it, it's nicely written, it's very short and sweet, and pretty to the point, so take a look at that. And obviously, you've heard enough about the, for today, the Irish Sister City Committee, Affordable Housing Trust. I know there's 2 grant applications in there, is that, yeah, is it? Or who's running that, the house repair fund?
Affordable housing.
Yeah, so I'm aware of 2 applications that have already been submitted.
Okay.
And maybe there's 1 or 2 pending.
There's 4 applications.
Already in?
Yeah, but-
I was just reviewing their notes from last week or whatever.
Yeah, so as of today, there's 4,
All right, cool.
Oh, all right.
but there's been lots of calls.
Perfect, thank you.
I just have a couple walk-on comments here on almost everything reporting. And then Mordecai Lincoln, the driveway is getting done in the very near future. And then Shellfish Advisory, they reconvened last week and, are working toward getting a report to the select board on progress. They will be, the aquaculture, the farmers will be harvesting in the next couple weeks.
Great.
Likely, and then we will be getting a report of like what worked, what didn't, hopefully do some sort of survey of the folks that use the area here as well. So that, look for that probably in December to the select board. And what is nothing specific and what I've got.
It's great. The new building, the Hatherley, Cushing, thank you, it is score of 10.
I know.
There's a lot of talk about, finalizing the, traffic study. They're gonna have a good and better handle on that. There aren't any traffic pattern changes need to happen, but they're taking that very seriously, which is good. And then also, there was some discussion on just the fields, field buildings.
So, Whole Parkway, the committee did have a meeting and the decision was made to, re-engage the consultant to go back with a more modest proposal about what to do based on what the feedback they got from this board. And, so the issue of, for example, deployables would be considered. The issue of maybe only making changes in certain places within that entire area that, where the Coast Guard station is, that it's a low point. So I think at this point, the ambitions of the committee are a lot more modest, but I think a lot more in line with at least what we can do currently. And and the Pier 44 committee will be doing a formal site plan review, and the list of what they need to get done for that is extensive. And so it looks to me as though they probably won't be filing with the planning board for at least like 2 months. But it's all part of the process. So that's that.
Just, let's see, CDC failed to get a quorum, it could not meet, and bylaw review was improperly posted, so that's why we're meeting Thursday. We go over that, but, that's good, that the band get back together and, and.
Could they list their names on the website? The bylaw review committee?
The members?
Yeah.
We can
with them.
Pardon me?
We can do it. Yeah. I can figure it out.
Oh.
The members should be listed, and the reason I'm saying that, if you look at the charter, with whatever, they're supposed to be available to the public consultation about proposed bylaws.
Right.
So if a member of the public has a thought about a bylaw, or would like to propose a bylaw review committee is supposed to.
The guide.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know it was an antenna. So that's why I'm asking if, and a contact.
Yes.
That's
the
challenge, but we'll figure it out. Well, if they're gonna be on the committee, at least one of them should.
Is there a chair? Can I go through the chair?
Yeah, we'll figure
Yeah,
it
but I'm not
out.
gonna post his personal website, he doesn't have a website for Scituate, so. I'm not gonna post his personal website on.
So
we can figure it out, a process
There's
of how to do it.
There's gonna be a reload of officers because we have a new member and it's been a year since it's constituted.
Yep.
So after Thursday's meeting, I'll let you know and we'll figure out the right contact.
What did I use to do, Ms. Canfield's cell phone number?
I'm not gonna take calls on that.
Good idea.
Oh, yeah, they can forward the emails.
Yeah, just
Most
do
of
it.
the people come through the select board office and then they go through us anyways, so
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, it's really not.
Correspondence.
I have a couple of tidbits here. Got a very detailed letter from Nancy Robertson expressing her frustration with her walks and tours around Scituate High School fields. She gave us an inventory of 25 days worth of trash to the extent of 2,571 pieces. Everything from Band-Aids to Nips bottles to hair ties to receipts to snack candy wrappers. She also did an extensive review in her opinion of lack of trash cans in this area. And then she attached this nice sign, "Why are you littering? I'm a jerk. I don't care about natural areas. Mommy so cleans up after me," all of the above.
Is that sign you're gonna post?
I don't know, it's not a bad idea, but, yeah, so that's that, and then, if you'd like to see this, it's here. Perhaps we should, maybe see.
I think we all.
Can we send that to
You
the
all got it.
schools? Like, can we send that to the high school and
We'll send it to recreation.
then they can do?
Yeah, I think that would be good, and then we
I
got.
think there are fields that people are using, and
Right,
they
it's
should be
not just-
respecting, and if they're not respecting, maybe they shouldn't be.
It's worth a read. And listen to this one. There is a red bike that has been in the same place for several months. You think someone would miss it? I mean.
Where's
really?
Richard Bonanno? We need
That's good. So,
I gotta.
and then I have a,
schools.
Relocate that bike.
Do schools?
we have a general order from,
Where they make
Sorry.
new stuff?
Oh.
I'm just curious, the thing about the.
No, you can't
Oh,
make,
that's
can't
legal.
make
You
it do
can't make
anything.
them pick up trash as a detention.
Not like the good old, not like the good old days.
Not like the,
No, sending them over the
No
trash.
flapping, remember the old flapping? Alright, what else we got?
we also have a general order from, Chief Donovan at the fire department, a promotional ceremony. There will be a promotional swearing-in ceremony held at Station 3 Tuesday, October 29th at 1700 hours, which is 5 p.m. Imperial time. For the following members, Captain David Bartolotto and Lieutenant Barry Shea. All on-duty apparatus shall report to Station 3 at 16:45 hours. All off-duty members are urged to attend. So that would be good. And then the other correspondence we received was picked up tonight in conversations about the Eagle Boy Scout project. So I don't think you need to hear that. You know what they were talking about, so there you go. That's all I have.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve, the meeting minutes of the September 24th meeting?
So.
Canfield, seconded by Ms. Conley, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn. And signed document, moved by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Conley, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.